Warning. Warning. This is not a test. This is not a test.
From the virtual cockpits to you, get ready to experience the peak of iRacing skill. We welcome you to the OB Builders Cup Series. Prepare for breathtaking speed, full commitment, and all-out action. The show starts now.
Welcome everybody to Kansas Speedway for tonight's coverage of the Thomas Mullins 300 as the Moonshiners Racing League and its OB Builders Cup Series looks to go racing for 300 miles here from Kansas City, Kansas. On TV with the coverage here tonight, as we're happy to have you with us for this evening's festivities. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside the booth for tonight is Jeremy Miller. DJ Line is working the controls as a producer using cameras provided once more by its partners. Lots of action to take place here tonight, Jeremy, as we get ready for tonight's action. It should be a fun night to battle back and forth here in Kansas.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the best racetracks on the schedule. This is going to be an absolute favorite amongst most of the field, as this is a track you can really move around, make a lot of different lanes work, and make some great passes, and really just fits this next-gen car well and what it was built to do well, so we should have a really entertaining show in hands.
Yes, indeed. Of course, we're approaching the midway portion of the regular season. These cameras brought to you by Whiplash Sim Camps are going to have a lot of viewpoints to be able to see what happens here tonight. The last race of the All-Star race, as we're in Kansas City, Kansas, as mentioned, a 1.5 mile facility with progressive banking around this track. It's been open since 2001, 17 to 20 degrees of banking in the corners. Multi-groove racing on the docket here tonight, Jeremy. You can run the bottom and the top here.
Yeah, we're going to be all over the place on the corners as well as the front stretch. We'll see some people cutting the apron, some people keeping it up, and a lot of times at Kansas you can see people getting in trouble coming down into turn one when they cut the apron and maybe lose track of where a guy above them is, so you're going to have to be careful to keep it off each other as they get down into turn one.
Should be an interesting night for that regard as we take a look at your championship playoff standings coming into tonight after 11 races. Shane Davis and Brendan Bakey are so far leading the way in the standings so far. You have Alex Coffey also in the win category with Rogers, Fetterplace, Wyatt, and Christensen with those distinctions here. The cutoff, 19 points up, Kevin Coppola. That is over Chris Davis for the time being, and a lot of fast drivers below the cut line. Fluger comes to mind, 26 points back of the cut coming into this evening amongst your playoff roster. Overall, when you look at the full roster, about 40 drivers have taken part in this season, Jeremy. So many of these drivers looking quite simply, some to have fun, but others looking to gain a lot of points on the ground they've lost.
Yeah, some guys obviously coming in as we've progressed through the season, later entries such as Tim Harper there in 36. We've seen him be a contender with a lot of speed every week, so going to see if he keeps racing throughout the season and can climb those point standings. But, you know, up towards the front of the field, we've had quite a few. We had 2 drivers win 3 races already and quite a few other winners as well. We're looking to see if anybody can make their way to victory lane tonight for their first win of the season to lock themselves into the playoffs as well.
Let's take an eye on what's going on in qualifying. Most of the field has qualified, but Warren Young, Aaron Matthews, Colt Waskowski, Jeremy Taylor, Paul Gallimore, Ryan Huff, Matt Cox, and Timothy Harper are the ones yet to set times so far in the session. That includes also Brandon Bickey, right now the 27 in the beast mode machine. Ready to see if they can jump up high. 30.4, a great first lap in fact. You have to run the high line here at qualifying, though, Jeremy. The fastest drivers can go full throttle in this section without pushing off turn 2 loose.
Yeah, we're going to be carrying as much throttle as possible all the way around this racetrack. We saw a little bit of a blip through the center of the corner from Bikey there. Same thing down here in 3 and 4, but he's holding really good speed on the outside line. He's going to have a chance at the pole here if it's as quick as the first lap.
He needs a 1/10 or so, and he's got a 10 and nearly a half. 30.246 to Alex Coffey's 30.227. Coffey, currently your fastest driver with less than 4 minutes to go in session. Bad news if you're a fan of Timothy Harper, he just hit the wall. Also, we take a look at Jeffrey Taylor, should say, one of the BMP cars, and it looks like he hit the seam. He's loose.
That's going to be a common theme here tonight. Huge hit to the outside wall for him in qualifying. They're going to have to roll out a backup car for him. It's going to be fortunate that it happened in qualifying. You learned a lesson there with the seam. You got to keep that left side tires off of that.
Skowski looking to finish up his run quickly. There's one of a few left to go. In practice, he was even quicker than the pole. Having some technical blips right now, but he's keeping that throttle pin comfortably in turns 1 and 2. We'll see if he's going to be able to replicate what he did in final practice.
Yeah, speeds don't look to seem to be as high as what we saw from Bikey earlier when we were on with him for his lap, so not expecting as fast of a lap here. Definitely a little more downforce of his car should be better in the race.
30.6 to start, just winding it up. Looks like he's using a lot of that seam to try and rotate. He had to blip the throttle just to get the car to stick, and he still nearly hits the wall. That wasn't the cleanest of lines compared to what we've seen the fastest run.
It's so difficult there for 1 and 2, trying to hold it wide open, right on the edge of wrecking. You turn the wheel a little too much, you'll spin like we saw at the 9 earlier, and you don't turn it enough, you come up towards the fence like that and scrub off a lot of speed. It's a very fine line to get the best lap you can, but he put down a pretty decent lap there, and he'll be P4 right now.
That was with him blipping the throttle even, too. And it looks like most of the field's qualified except for Warren Young and Paul Gallimore. Those two have yet to hit the racetrack. Everyone else either off circuit or, in the case of Matt Cox, is practicing. So, happy birthday right now to the driver at the top of the board, Alex Coffey. So far, one of just 2 drivers in the 2s. Expecting him to be very fast this week here, Jeremy.
Yeah, he won a week ago at 1.5 miles. Had some fortunate luck there with the tire strategy after some bad luck that put him in the situation where he had the extra set, but had a lot of speed and was able to drive through the field throughout the entire night, even despite being 2 laps down early, and I'm expecting him to be a contender here again tonight.
Quick reminder, at the halfway point tonight, we'll be giving away a gift card this evening. Yes, we'll be giving away a SimRap Market gift card at the halfway point of tonight, worth $12. Be sure to keep an eye on things at the halfway mark to be able to jump on board of that giveaway. We'll ask the question to determine who can win that giveaway around the halfway point tonight. But we have less than 30 seconds to go in the session. It looks like the entire field is comfortable with where they're starting. 32 cars strong here tonight. How do you play this race to start things off to make sure you don't make a mistake on the strategy? What's your play at a track like this?
Yeah, the biggest thing is just going to be saving the tire sets as much as you can early to have that flexibility late in the race to be able to make those stops. We should be able to make it on fuel pretty easily in both of the first 2 stages, so not much of a question there. Guys are just going to be taking care of their stuff, probably saving a lot of tires early in the run so that they can afford to stay out. They get a yellow at that 15-20 lap mark and go for the stage wins late.
OB Builders Cup Series action ready to go on the pole tonight. Setting that pole mark, brought to you by All About Sheet Metal, was Alex Coffey. Brandon Bakey will start in second. Mikey in that position. Then it will be in row number 2, Aaron Matthews and Colt Pleskowski starting alongside those drivers who are in the 4s. Then Kenny Coppola on the border for the point standings coming in. Johnny Shade will start alongside him in row number 3. That brings us to row 4, where Blaine Wilson bring that eyeball helmet forward with Corey Moore starting alongside of one of the Precision Speed machines. Rounding out the top 10, Paul Gallimore and Sean Rogers gets himself on the outside of row 5, Jeremy.
Starting P11 here tonight will be Brandon Fetterplace. Joining him is Brian Careeni, 28. We saw some great speed out of him last week. Starting P13 here tonight will be Nicholas Atwood in the 91. Joining him is Greg Carr in the Alienware 25. 15th is going to be Kevin Ruff, another car we saw very strong in the short runs a week ago. Next to him is Jameson Middlemiss. Hopefully he won't have as many big hits as we've been seeing throughout the season tonight. 17th is going to be Shane Davis. We've seen a lot of runs out of him so far on the long runs of the season where he's very competitive. Look for him to move over from that starting position, joined by Shane Wyatt in 18th. 19th position here tonight is going to be Barry Sanders, and joining him is Nick King in the Ryan Blaney 12.
21st goes the way of Jose Medina. He'll start alongside Jordan Schmidt in the 22 car, fitting to his position. Jared Clark, 23rd, alongside Nigel Christensen, a winner at Dega a couple weeks ago. then you have Timothy Harper. He hit the wall in qualifying. He'll start alongside Chris Spear in the Spire paint scheme. 27th goes the way of Matt Cox tonight. Alongside him, Tim Wortman Jr. Then rounding out the top 30, Jeffrey Taylor crashed in qualifying. Warren Young did not set a time in said qualifying. Victor Fluger and Ryan Huff are the rest of your drivers in the field this evening here from Kansas. So top to bottom of the running order here tonight. We are getting all set behind the pace car. Let's take a look at your OB Builders Cup Series race analysis. 200 laps your distance here from Kansas. These drivers will have stages this evening at laps 45 and 90. No faster pairs, remember the series, and these drivers will have 5 tire sets available in the pits. So we take a look at your AASM Pole Award winner once again, Alex Coffey.
Great lap for Coffey, backing up the win last week with his Precision Speed Solutions setup under the hood, and very fast in qualifying. Hopefully he has as much speed in race trim so he can go out there and get himself another one.
How about our pace lap to get going here? What are some of your keys to victory when it comes to Kansas tonight?
Yeah, the biggest thing is going to be keeping your fenders on the car. Very downforce dependent racetrack. Don't want any damage to that vehicle. Going to be trying to stay out of the fence and out of your competitors. And only 5 tire sets like we went over tonight. That's not a lot here, so you're going to have to be very careful with the rubber and not use it up too early in the run.
Who are you watching out for the most driver-wise tonight as we take a look at some of the cameras this evening?
Coffey's obviously always a threat to win, especially starting from the pole, but I'm going to be picking Matt Cox again. Starting all the way back at 27th, saw him working on the race trim and qualifying there. I think that's a sign that he wasn't quite as dialed as he wanted to be, but I got a feeling he probably found a little of what he was looking for there, and he's going to be able to get up to the front.
Tim Wortman Jr. wearing a Birds Not Real shirt tonight. Well, just to let you settle in here tonight as he brings the camera awareness, but we'll see if he's amongst the drivers who's able to move forward here in the 83 car tonight. But some of these other drivers just getting buckled in and ready to go racing. It should be a fun night here. You mentioned some of the drivers to keep an eye on as we take a look at Nick King's camera. What else is on the mind before we take this green?
Yeah, just going to be 200 laps. So that's a long time to get it done. 300 miles. Obviously, stages 45 and 90, so you're going to spend in the first half of this race in 2 shorter stints, but after that, you're going to have the long run. So it's going to be interesting to see whose cars are built for later in the night as the track will cool down, and if anybody can come from the back and get it done.
Start zone brought to you by SimWrap Market. We'll get to that zone to begin things. Happy with us here from Kansas. Coffey in control. The green flag is out. The Thomas Mullins 300 is underway, and the outside line takes the lead.
A great launch on the top there. Alex Coffey gets beat in the turn 1, completely clear by Bikey. He's going to be able to run wherever he wants and give some dirty air to Coffey. And the outside line should probably get a good run down the back here as well. He may fall to 3rd.
Bikey catching the control car of Coffey, sleeping. Coffey all the way back to 3rd as a result of that initial start. See some of the drivers pushing already. Most of the field doing what you expect here. Run the bottom, save the tires before they get up the temp.
Yeah, it's definitely the lane to be to save the tires, but just because it's the right lane to save your tires doesn't mean you're doing the right thing to save your tires. You can be running down there and you could be pushing your car still too hard, so while you might think you're saving your tires, you could be tricking yourself and running them too hard, as Aaron Matthews is going to look under our pole setter now.
Looking to let him have it. Matthews takes the spot. Now Kenny Coppola will do the same thing to get alongside Hedra. Remember, racing to lap 45 to begin things. Not expecting green flag pit stops, in fact, here for the first 2 stages. Still have to make sure you don't fall off a cliff, because here's the thing. You push the tires like you just said here, Jeremy, as the night progresses. Lap 20, you'll get surprised when all of a sudden your car no longer sticks to the racetrack.
Yeah, it'll be a very sudden cliff, especially here at Kansas. You'll feel like a superhero the entire time, and then the second those tires turn evil on you, there's no coming back. And you know, lap 20, that sounds like it's a lot of laps, but you still got 25 left to go in the stage when that happens, and you're going to be really struggling, so you really just don't want to put yourself in the situation. This 3-wide racing is definitely not going to be helping anyone's tires back here.
How about a wall contact for good measure there? That's Shane Davis trying to move ahead. He's up 8 so far tonight in the teal 79. Just ahead of those watching on board here, Paul Gallimore also forming the line. A lot of these drivers thinking track position very valuable. It can work if you don't toast the right front tire or the right rear.
Definitely always valuable with the track position, but I would argue that Kansas is one of the tracks where it is the least valuable on the schedule. So many options here to get around and make passes, and you could prioritize saving those tires. You shouldn't have much of an issue passing somebody later in the run if you've done a better job than them, as the speed disparity should be absolutely enough to pass them no matter where we're running.
Looking solid so far in the heart of the field, most of the field sticking single file outside of those leapfrogging in the mid-pack. Still fast slaps being set as these tires still get up to temperature. In fact, of the top 5, 4 of the top 5 just set their personal best. One driver way low on the racetrack. That is a very low line from Nicholas Atwood as he comes back on circuit.
Seems like he did a great job hanging on the back car. I'd be interested to see if we can get a replay of that later on and see if there was some contact to help him there, if he just got loose on his own and lost it off that corner. But he lost every position in the field but one so far here after that. But the car is in one piece, and that's all that matters.
Once again, your replays this season brought to you by RS Button Boxes. Once was running inside, was looking okay, running about 17th position. And one of the dangers on how you exit the corner here, you don't want to hit somebody. Watch the exit off turn 2 where he bounces off the 23.
It just seemed to have lost track of the 23 there. It almost looked like he was coming all the way up as if there was no car there. I wonder if he just lost sight of him and maybe got a clear call that was false from the sim or something along those lines.
That's put him way back. 31st spot as a result of that mistake. Speaking of mistakes, we've seen mistakes in qualifying from that purple machine. Seen him doing very well in the field. Some of the drivers making up some lost ground. Pfluger up 8, for example, from the qualifying session. Others just trying to slice ahead. Middlemiss up 6 as well. Shane Wyatt, he's right now amongst those trying to make some ground back up. He's one of the dig cars digging.
We saw Shane pop up purple earlier at the run, so he ran one of the fastest laps of the race, and still only up to 14th position here, so he's put a lot of stress on his tires, still gonna have a lot of dirty air, so he's got to be careful to make sure he didn't push them too hard, or he could be struggling, like we said, when we get around that 20 lap mark in this run.
Wyatt right now not carrying all that much as long as car goes to the front. It looks like he's happy. We're already about 10 laps of the run. That was a little sketchy. Sean Rogers trying to get a side draft to the side of Jamison Middlemiss. It didn't work out.
Really aggressive side draft in there for lap 10 by Rogers, but Rogers is an aggressive driver. He's clean, he won't wreck you, but he'll run you really hard and fight for every position tooth and nail, and that's what we saw there. But Middlemiss got the better of him there, and now we have the 12 of King looking to the inside, while Wyatt still works the fence here, and he's going to get a big run off that corner.
Where does he take the run? No place to go as we take a look on board, as you said. This is rough. The 14 machine so far lost 4 positions as the night progressed so far. Not the greatest of runs for Ruff so far as he gets passed by one of the drivers looking to recover from qualifying. Timothy Harper now to his right.
Timothy's been working his way through the field methodically here, definitely saving his tires. See him running the middle lane here on the outside of Ruff. He's going to get clear off of this corner and be able to carry that momentum down the straightaway, and he'll be by himself going into 3, looking to pick up some more positions as Ruff is falling a little backwards here.
Yeah, just sticking to the bottom, just trying to let it ride around the white line. And keep in mind, eventually you expect drivers to have to move up here. Even if they prefer the bottom, that line's just not going to last the whole race. We've seen people run about the first seam and about 5 laps time of the run once the tires really settle on in to be able to stick instead of just the white line.
Yeah, all the drivers are going to have different things built into their cars for what they're going to be built to do. So some drivers might be able to hold the bottom with a little more longevity than others, but eventually the top will become the best line. But if you are faster, the middle and the bottom will still be workable. You can definitely see some slide jobs here later on in the evening as well. Drivers get more aggressive looking for positions as Coppola looks to the inside of Matthews.
was one of the drivers who was pushing early for the top 3. Now the beast mode machine cuts ahead to the top 3. The battle for the race lead is also heating up a little bit as they heat up across the track. You see the 77 now clear. Able to get the poke away. Matthews' tires are starting to cliff a little bit, it looks like.
Yeah, we'll see. Right, that's what I was on my pre-race there. You saw Coppola just, sometimes you just drift up a little higher than you think you are out of that trial one. You didn't come that close to contact, but it just always looks like they're going to meet in the middle. You got to be careful there, but he gets clear for 3rd, and he's going to set his sights on Blazkowski in front of him now for P2, and Bikey's still leading this race comfortably by about a car length or 2.
Indeed. Seeing that 8 machine and all of this too. Still, we're in the top groove, bottom groove for the 27. So we take a look at those in the back. How about 3 wide? Some of the drivers starting to find some good rhythm, like George Smeets. Right now, another BMP car pushing the back end of a Dick car to try and find its way forward.
They're almost looking 4 wide there in 1 and 2. We'll settle all back down to 2 wide here in 3 and 4, but a lot of shuffling back here. This is kind of the hornet's nest. Somebody got in the fence fair off of 4, and that's going to wad them up even more. All on top of each other here. Just so hard to race when it's this packed in. There's so much dirty air, so much turbulent air. Your car is not handling well. You got to just be very smart not to make a poor decision to end your night early right now.
It's going to be important to be careful here, and that's what Wyatt's doing, to be careful as he now moves up top a little bit with Corey Morrell up there. Others like Nick King just playing both lines to defend. Blaine Wilson, haven't mentioned his name much all night so far, going ahead. Oh, a big push up. Wyatt pushed way up the track.
Very hairy moment there for the 23, but he's going to regroup. He's going to rip the fence again here. He's been ripping the fence the entire race. Gets a great run. He's going to recover pretty much right back to where he was within this group. His Curry barely clear of him there. Gets to the outside of King.
Every week, it seems, Shane Wyatt does one thing on social media. Always drives his sim truck, he calls it, all over the map when it comes to the truck simulators. To take his virtual hauler to the racetrack. It's always interesting to see those social media posts where he tries to have fun air sims, but also make sure to promote this car for this series every week.
Yeah, he does a great job promoting the series and promoting his team and his partners as well. Just very active with that, and that's, you know, that's a part of it. It's sim racing, but you still, you know, they have a responsibility to all the logo on that car. He has a responsibility to his team. He has a responsibility to the league he's running in. Got a little bit of the wall there, and can be still clear here as the 18 of Wilson's looking to the outside there, but just he does a great job, like you said, with the truck. I think he uses ATS for that as some custom mods, and it looks really cool. If anybody hasn't seen this, definitely go look out for those. They're pretty awesome.
Definitely stands out as Wilson tries to go to the bottom of the racetrack in this sequence. And all he does is just ride along, no place to go. And this is the thing. The longer the run, the harder it is going to be to pass. Top 3 are now choo-choo training up top. 2 of them in beast mode paint schemes. The BMP car is getting held up a touch, though, because Blazkowski bobbled in front of Coppola.
Oh, big contact behind them. 2 cars on the apron. They're going to save it. We're going to stay green. That was almost a big wreck for both of those drivers at the back end of our top 10.
Paul Gallimore was one of the drivers there. Just about hooked Johnny Shea. Replay, let's take a look.
He was just trying to side draft him entering the corner, and I think he just kind of came up a little bit too much and left reared him. It's hard to see from that angle. Might have been some netcode involved, but looks like just a minor misjudgment there, and they're going to keep it green, and both those cars should be okay to continue.
Being able to hold on from the hook. 11 holds on for their car. That pushes Gallimore a fair bit back in the running order to 22nd.
And the result of that is we now see a 6-car breakaway up front. Big gap from Middle Miss back to Moore, and a little bit of a gap forming from Davis back to Middle Miss.
Caution flag is out. Jarrett Clark into the wall. Clark had been running 27th and now has immediately towed his car.
That does look to be terminal, unfortunately.
Look at your RS Better Boxes replay. I don't think he got hit. He just snapped.
Yep, got loose on his own there and overcorrected into the outside wall. There's a little bit of a bump when you enter one there and you straddle that seam, and I definitely think that's what he hit right here.
The seam doesn't work out whatsoever and breaks the chassis immediately and the motor. So now it's going to be a bit of a predicament when it comes to the tire choice a little bit. Use a set leaves you with 4 remaining. You do the math. In terms of how many cycles to go, that leaves you 2 of the rest of the way after the stages. So should see a wave this time through. Here we go. Coffee did stay out, so did Moore, Johnny Shade, Blade Wilson, Timothy Harper, Tim Wortman Jr., Nigel Christensen, along with Victor Flugo. Basically, most of those that were with Dig or Precision Speed Solutions electing to stay out on the old tires, Jeremy, interesting enough.
Yeah, I'm not too surprised by that call. It's what won the race for Coffee last week, was having the extra set over the field, and obviously all the teammates were, part of that strategy and understanding it. So they'll be able to see, as they still are going to have 5 tires sitting down there in the pits throughout the rest of this race, and we get a caution late with a situation like this with 25 to go instead of 25 in. They may be the only ones who can take tires.
2 tires, George Smeets gets some track position. Greg Carr also took 2 tires. Puts him in the heart of the field, though. Some speeding penalties also appear to be applied. Drivers like Shane Wyatt let people go after his pit stop sequence. So an interesting choice by a lot of these drivers here to stay out. We were seeing a little bit of fall off, but not as much as you think. The pace average had fallen off 0.3 from the start of the race.
Yeah, not a lot of fall-off for the front of the field for sure. I definitely think some guys were really struggling, which is why we saw a separation. Some people were probably a little cooked on their tires there, and why we're starting to see that breakaway. So those drivers are probably very happy to see this yellow right now, and they're going to take advantage of the fresh tires here. Obviously going to have about 17, 18 laps to the finish of the stage, so we're going to be able to push really hard for this run as well, and not have to worry too much about saving tires.
Set for a restart here. Coffee did choose to go up top side. So a swarm of Toyotas now in the top 5. Now it's going to be an interesting thing on how these leaders now have the 11th on back cars attack them. Your track conditions, by the way, lower corner of your screen, 89 Fahrenheit track temperature. It is windy though. And keep in mind, depending on the wind location, Jeremy, it can make you tight. For example, in some league action, that push to the southwest, essentially turn 4, made you tight off 4. It's a little bit more so off turn 2 tonight.
Yeah, it's going to have a massive impact on the handling of these race cars, especially when you have that spoiler higher up in the air. Some of these setups might at a place like this, getting that a lot of air pushing down on that can really change up the car quickly on you. Also wanted to note something interesting here. Coffee picking the top on the restart here. Definitely, I think, thinking back to what happened on the initial start and how he got beat by the top lane so badly.
Coming up to the Simrap Market restart zone. This time Coffee in full command instead of it just being off Barney. Green flag is out. The inside line checks up behind Johnny Shade. Everybody else gets fired off. And Coffee maintains the top. Corey Moore maintains the bottom as they work their way through 1 and 2. 2 by 2, most of the field deep.
Some fanning out here down the backstretch as the tires are going to try to work their way through those who stayed out or took 2 in Schmidt's case. And we saw Davis with a very shallow entry to that corner. He's going to make that stick back there. As up front, they're just trying to get settled in on their older tires here and get those tires back to temperature.
Mikey amongst those. Going ahead, Mikey. That 27 is cutting through the field. 3 wide. Wortman Jr. able to make the pass on Harper from his inside. But those fresher tires are moving in the Beast Mode Performance entry, already up to 6.
Yeah, he will be leading before too long here as he's just picking these cars off one by one very easily right now. He's going to get a big run down the front stretch. See if he can get to the outside of Wortman. He will, so this will be a number 2 position just down the straightaway for Bikey.
Mikey riding forward like he's riding the bike right now. Shane Davis, though, is making more ground, or was. That 83 in the lower corner of the screen, checking up the 79 significantly, and now it's Błyskowski who's got a huge run, as still 27 now able to cut on through some of the dig cars. More drivers just staying up to the top line. Many of these drivers trying to mind their own business as Shade hits the wall.
4 wide for a moment down the front straightaway. Definitely a little bit hairy there if you're on the apron trying to get back up, but they settled in. I think Shade was one of the cars that stayed out, so he's just trying to hold on to the end of his stage right now.
Just trying as much as possible right now as for the lead. Mikey now getting blocked off. Goes for the side draft, goes for the point. Put the 27 up to the race lead. Led 23 laps so far tonight. Coffee leading about 6 laps there as the 27 clears in his Toyota.
And Mikey's going to set sail to clean air now. He's going to break the draft a little bit here down the backstretch as well, as Coffee's going to be chasing the hold on to what he can with his older tires, as here comes Davis to follow through for second, and Matthews as well will try to get the third. Oh, it's Błyskowski on the outside. They're 3 wide. That was almost close to contact.
That held up the 8 significantly. Matthews making the pass, no issue on the bottom as he blocks off the top. No tire conservation whatsoever. We're under 15 laps to go or so in the stage here. These drivers trying to burn up their stuff, trying to get all the spots they can.
Everybody's looking at this as a short run, definitely throwing caution to the wind. Probably even made some adjustments on their pit stops, knowing they're not going to have to go as long. Might have a little more aggressive settings in the car right now to push it a little bit harder on these short runs, as Rogers now looks to the inside of Coffee, but push from Kevin Ruff.
Coffee going the wrong way right now. The top 6 on fresh tires as Coffee drives it into the fence. That checks up the outside line. They're able to keep on going. Now it's the top 13, all on fresh tires as a result of that hit to the wall. As we take a look at one of the Aero cars, that's Team Aero for their drivers tonight. Team Aero cars starting to gain more and more populating up amongst your top 10 with Better Place now on the move.
I mean, Federplay's been looking all over the racetrack here for positions. He's going to get to the left rear of King here. Came down the racetrack a little trying to block him off. They're going to be, Coppola in the fence prevented them from being 3 wide, but he's still got a big run even with hitting the fence. And they'll be side by side in the 3.
For the race lead, though, it's 2 teammates looking to battle it out. Shane Davis looking a little bit quicker. He is searching for clean air, it looks like, on that front nose. He still falls behind his teammate tire to tire.
This is the point of the run where the next gen is very difficult if you're in that second place position. There's so much grip for the leader that, you know, it's really going to be hard to find enough speed to get past him at this point in the run. So Mikey's in a great position right now as long as he just keeps dirty air on the nose of the cars behind him and doesn't make any mistakes himself. He should be able to defend this position fairly strongly.
Davis lifting a little bit earlier on the throttle compared to the 27's throttle point. And there's that different line that gets the air moving. You mentioned adjustments during the pit stop sequence. What would you have adjusted to be able to try and make the car fast on the short run?
Yeah, you can just go a little more aggressive on your tire pressures. You can short fuel the car and drop the rear a little as well, doing that, and get a little more speed out of it that way. And there's, you know, a lot of tips and tricks that a lot of these guys probably know and work with, and definitely quite a few things that people probably would have tried there, and other people may have just been making adjustments to make their cars better in general too. I mean, first stop of the night, if you were mishandling, you could go in and make adjustments trying to fix that as well, but not even have been something for the short run exclusively.
So the top 2 running the bottom, 3rd place, and one of the Aero cars running the top. That worked for Matthews last time by. He was quicker than both the leaders by about a 10th this time by. He gains another 10th on the race leader. Davis going for the slide job, trying to take away the race lead. It doesn't work. Davis slams the door, but Matthews crosses him up.
Yeah, Davis put himself in a vulnerable position there, just really didn't get close to completing that pass, and it's going to cost him a spot, maybe even 2 spots, as Boskowski's going to look to the outside as well, Davis, and I think, well, it depends on the side route here, but Davis might be in jeopardy of losing 2 spots here, maybe even 3 if Curry can set up the positioning correctly in the 1.
Right now, Davis trying to try and defend here. One comes for the outside, to at least get the 5 to the numbers on the door. Coming up to 11 to go in the stage as we turn here. Playoff points later. He's able to defend successfully from the bottom here. Also in the battle here. Give a shout out to Brian Curry, up 7 in the race so far. He's been very quiet, but now is joining the fun. In fact, he joins a little bit too much on the fun, hits the wall.
Yeah, we talked about this last week at Texas. I mean, these guys are going to hit the wall all night. It's really not going to affect them when they hit it like that. These cars are built so strong, and that's not going to do anything. He lost a little momentum, but he's going to regroup and go right back to fighting for that 4th place position.
He's been running very fast laps lately. Last time was quick to the race leader, but not as quick as Shane Davis in 2nd. Car hits the wall. So BMP has 3 of the top 5. Arrow and PSS have the rest of those spots as we turn. That's going to change though. Rogers, he's been quicker than everybody in the main pack. You mentioned him being fairly aggressive. Right now that aggression sees him trying to push the 28 up the track.
Yeah, almost a little contact there. I mean, both drivers trying the side route to turn pretty hard at that corner. Rogers definitely a lot more pace right now than Curry. He's going to try to complete this pass down here in the 1 and 2. And not looking like he's going to get that done, though. Really good run from center corner 28. He might actually get clear here off of turn 2, and he will.
Battle for the race lead again. Shane Davis is trying it again. Oh, this time it might have worked. He parked the bus on his teammate. Mikey now cuts inside to take the lead back, but that could have been disastrous with the parking the bus there.
A really aggressive move by Davis, but you know, that stage win means something. That's what that's for right there. We're racing really hard for it. Just couldn't quite keep the position on the outside there to switch up the lines and make the pass release. He's going to have to go for it again. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him, I was about to say, run up top here in 3 and 4 and try to get that run down the front stretch and see if he can try a new approach down in the 1 and 2 to make the pass on his teammates. We're going to have 2 to go here in the stage, Justin.
2 to go in the stage. For those who stayed out, they are 17th on back. An extra set in hand, but at what cost? The battle continues for those on the newer sets. Davis on the lunge attempt, takes a peek. Again, the 27 parks it. Coming up to 1 to go in the stage. Here from Kansas. Question is which one of these 2 are going to get the edge?
79 is definitely faster right now, but he's not going to want to wreck himself or his teammate for the stage win, so we're going to race really hard. He's packing some air on the back bumper, very washed up a little through the center bike. He's going to get a good run down the back, but Davis kept his thing wound up. He's going to have a chance down here in the 3 and 4.
Lines up the draft. Mikey already makes the first move. Blocking down to the bottom. Davis trying to make it cut. Mikey couldn't make it stick. Davis cuts to the inside. For the stage win, it's Shane Davis who's got the edge over the 27. Matthews, Boskowski, and Curry, your top 5. Rogers, Ruff, Gallimore, couple of better plays, your top 10.
Davis played that perfectly right there. He forced his teammate into a mistake in the final turn, packed a little air on him, got him tight, and just was patient with the throttle, drove underneath him, and used the side draft to pull him back on exit, and he was gone for the stage win.
Take a quick commercial break. We're under caution for the 2nd time tonight. You're watching Ballin' TV here from Kansas.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Both go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Drop it.
Welcome back, everyone, for the Thomas Mullins 300. Coverage continues here for the Moonshiners Racing League and its OB Builders Cup Series. You're on Bowling TV. Justin Prince alongside Jeremy Miller, DJ Line producing. So we are now in stage number 2 of note. Shane Wyatt stayed out. Everybody else, as expected, came down and used the set for pit stops. So the 23 taking a huge risk. He'll control things into the SWM restart zone. The Simrap market car leads the field. We're backing away.
Great launch for him on the bottom. He will get clear of the lead. We'll see how long he'd hold it, though. I think he's going to be at a massive disadvantage to the field here.
This isn't going to last fairly long. You'd have to think with what we've seen from everybody else on that strategy. But everybody else lining up, try and battle things out. Brian Curry try and duck to the middle. 5 of Matthews getting passed by some people from the low side.
Not the greatest restart for Matthews so far, but he's got the outside line so he can get his momentum wound up here for 1 and 2 and maybe recover some of what he lost there. He's got pretty close to the wall. He definitely kept his foot in it, but look at the run here off of turn 2. He's going to get right back to the back bumper of the 79 car.
Teammates trying to work together a little bit, although different approaches to the track. A little push-up from one of the beast mode cars. Curry having to check up. Coppola not stable. Checks up another one of the BMP cars in Gallimore. That gap to the race leader that had gotten pretty significantly spread to start the run. So we cut down to a car length. Everybody now starting to swarm a bit behind that 23. Coppola still trying to swarm up high side.
Yeah, Wyatt's held on a little longer than I expected here. Clean air is definitely helping him. He's going to try to hold on to it as long as he can, because I think the second dirty air is on the nose of that race car. It's going to be a different story as they are stacked up behind him right now. They're going to be looking both ways down the front stretch potentially for the lead here. Yep, there we go. This is going to be 3 wide for the lead. maybe if Mikey can get to the outside, which he's trying, Davis to the inside, though he's going to side draft him hard down the back straightaway. Davis should take the lead down here in 3 and 4.
Side by side for the point. No major attempt at a side draft, in fact. Still, the 79 and fresher tires. It will move ahead. Second to go on through is Matthews for good measure. And it's going to get interesting, to say the very least, for Shane's case, how he plays the strategy, because you do the math in terms of the fuel, he's borderline on making it to the stage regardless. So if it goes green, Shane may not be able to make the distance. It'll be close.
Yeah, he's going to be definitely fighting that, as well as at this point, you know, he's just got to protect the race car. You lost the lead, you're going to lose more positions. Don't do something stupid and get yourself in trouble just because you're on worse tires. Protect the race car, make smart decisions, and you will come out of this with a chance later in the race.
It's going to get interesting how the rest of this goes now. So we take a look at Moore amongst those running top. Corey Moore has been everywhere on the grid so far, but he's still a -8. So we take a look at one of the Aero cars. This is Barry Sanders. He's up 8 so far. One of the league admins. Doing solid this race so far in his Chevy.
Impressive run from Sanders, definitely showing some real speed here tonight. Gonna see if he can keep building on that, get some momentum rolling forward, and maybe get the car a little better to where he wants it, get up there running in the top 5, maybe even contend for a win tonight.
It's going to take getting some track position without destroying the tires. That's going to be the key thing. As we take a look at around the 23. Wyatt's doing a solid job maintaining the track position compared to the earlier run. But for how long? 31.1 last time by, 0.3 slower than the leader. And now drivers are trying to take it to the high side to pass him.
Yeah, he's definitely going to continue to slip here. I do wonder if he planned on the strategy all along and maybe took it really easy on his tires through the second half of the first stage there, preparing for this, so he wouldn't be as much of a deficit. Obviously still sliding backwards, but he's holding his own a lot better than the guys who stayed out earlier on the first caution did. And he's going to probably still be within the pack by the time it comes to the end of the stage, or to him having the pit if he does have to pit early.
Lead right now. See some of the drivers try and cut ahead. Oh, Atwood getting a little bit too low that time. Checks up the whole queue. See, try and dive on the apron.
Car turned a little bit too well for him there, and he caught a bit of it, just about stacked up the field, but they got out of it clean. He's moving back forward. P12 right now for Atwood. Good recovery from his earlier issue where we saw him almost spinning into the infield down the backstretch.
Right now seeing middle miss. Munsto's trying to find if anything's amiss with the top still. It's one of the few trying that line right now in the midst of dirty air. And how tricky is it in terms of the mindset of trying to make a pass? I know how simple that may sound as a question, but how difficult it is to try and get these passes done, to be able to try and get them done cleanly in a race like this when it is it's multi-groove, but it's also hard to get the job done in the multi-groove so far tonight as middle miss is pushed up.
Yeah, Coffee middle 3 wide there, and I mean, you're seeing why it's so difficult right here. We're going to be 4 wide down the front straightaway. That's going to get really tight with Ward. Oh, got a little loose on the straightaway there. Probably hit the apron transition just weird, and this, I mean, oh man, I'm just trying to make sure I don't wreck here. Still, first, before I answer your question, Justin, they're beating each other's doors here, and then Coffee's finally going to get clear of him now off of turn 2. But I mean, you saw right there why it's so hard to pass. I mean, turbulent air, cars are handling terribly. It's everywhere you're just looking for clean air. You don't, 12 hit the apron. Now they're trying the wreck, trying to get a thought out. I can't, but they're, it's everywhere you go with the 1.5 miles with this car. You're just looking for clean air in the corner. You're trying to run a different line than the car, and they're wrecking. They just don't want me to answer this question.
Oh boy, the 12 in the grass. King, we stay green. A couple drivers involved there. Timothy Harper also having to slow up significantly as a result of that situation. take a look at the replay brought to you by RS Button Boxes. Contact into one sparks it.
Yeah, King was kind of all over the place like we were saying while we were watching along there because it's just so much going on back here. He got into the 7 there, and then Tim Harper with nowhere to go gets into the back of him as well, which sends him down into the grass. Did a good job keeping that from getting worse for himself, but very unfortunate for Tim. Just nothing he could do there.
Just getting all checked up. 4 wide, mind you, in the first place.
Yeah, King just did what I talked about on the pre-show there. He just came up a little bit too much off the apron on the front stretch, hit the car above him, and yeah, that's another reason it's so difficult to pass here. If they can go cut the tri-oval and take a ton of time back just by doing that, even if you have a better run on them, and it's hard to chase somebody down there in side draft because you can spin yourself with the transition. And you just got to be really patient and let your speed do the work for you.
Much of the field getting single filed out. Some of those in the back, not so much. For Smeets earlier trying a 2-tire call. We didn't really talk about him too much. He is still stuck back in this hornet's nest. Everyone else trying to sort their lines out with some of the aero cars back here, PMP entries. There's a dig car or two as well. Wyatt is all the way back in 20th in this pack.
Yeah, Wyatt definitely, while we were covering all that, did start to fall off a little more as the tires for him probably started to hit their cliff while everybody else is still in the earlier portion of their run. But you can see right there, he's just really tight on entry in the backside of our screen as we were watching that. Oh, 22 got a little loose right there. Wortman's going to get a run to his outside. I've been really impressed with these beast mode cars so far. Obviously saw a moment right there for Schmeeds, but they have all looked really fast, showing up with a lot of speed. Shane Davis leading the race right now, 4 of them. As we're going to look at the front, Bikey up there on the outside of Matthews, and you see Coppola back there in 5th, Gallimore in 6th. They're just really strong right now, Justin.
Extremely solid with how things are looking right now. Matthews going the wrong way as we see that, though. He's now falling on back to 4th. Bikey up to 2nd as they go. And the multi-groove starting to pop up here. The Beast Mode performance cars seem to be very dialed in this race with how they've populated the front. What are your thoughts on that team dynamic where this one group seems to now be controlling the entire top 5 outside of the aero car?
Yeah, part of that plays into as well, like Dig went on the automatic strategy in the first stage, buried themselves in the field, so a lot of them are still recovering from that right now, but we see Curry up there in his Precision Motorsport or Precision Speed Solutions machine in 7th, and we're starting to see a separation though. These beast mode guys are just kind of lined up and hauling mail down the straightaways, and we're seeing that breakaway start to form again as off the back bumper of Curry. There is a bit of a gap to Kevin Ruff as he looks to pass Matthews now as that aero car seems to fall off.
Top 5 all beast mode cars as they run at the moment. Next highest up is that battle going on for 6th. Curry, great run so far. Still maintains his position here in the PSS car. Precision Speed Solutions car able to clear, stay up in the top 7. He is the 2nd highest running Toyota.
He's doing a good job right now trying to make that pass as cleanly as he can. I definitely think he probably feels he has a lot more pace than Matthews right now, but I think they're probably pretty even. Just depends on what line they're running in the aero situation, who's getting the better runs off the corners. These two are definitely good enough to hang with these beast mode cards right now. As the 8's in the wall though up there, you got to be careful with that. Gallimore's going to give them space to collect it though, and they're going to be okay.
And caution flag is out. There is a car stopped in turn 2. It's the 9. Still keep an eye on the leaders, but it's Jeffrey Taylor that again has had an issue. Seen an issue with him in qualifying. He has an issue here in the race.
Got into the back of Fetter place out in the corner there and kept it out of the fence as long as he could, and never overcorrect and hit the wall on the outside, and that's a lot of damage to the 9 cars. The driver of the 9 currently in the sim is quite upset over a block at the 34 for here. Let's take a look at that. I don't know if I see it that way, Justin. I feel like the 34 is just kind of running his line.
Taylor's not happy on the radio over it. I'm not exactly sure what he's not happy about.
I really don't see blocking here. I feel like Fetterplace just kind of ran his line. He didn't shade all the way out, which we'll see when we come back to the tri-oval to the wall. But that's more so just running a defensive line than blocking, in my opinion. But definitely could be some more going back that Taylor was angry about that we didn't see throughout the course of the race so far leading up to this incident.
One of the few BMP cars not up front. Yeah, just driving his line. I don't understand the issue with blocking he mentioned on the radio, but he's getting repairs done, to say the very least, and now to get the work done on the car. Most of the field stayed out here except for a couple: Medina, Carr, Shade, Cox, Harper, Wyatt, Huff. That's those who pit. We still have a decent amount of time to go on the stage. Let's take an opportunity here real quickly. See if we can talk to one of the drivers here. Shane Davis runs up front. Let's bring up Shane Davis. Shane, do you have a copy?
What's going on, guys?
How are you feeling in the race car right now?
I feel pretty good right now. I feel pretty solid.
How's the team dynamic been here tonight? Because so far, BMP top 5 controlling things so far.
It feels really good right now. I think we're, me and Brandon right now have been doing pretty good. That was a fun battle right there at the end of that stage. And we're going to just keep trying to run it good. And we got a good setup underneath us tonight. And we're going to keep going.
What's the approach going to be the rest of the stage here as we have a quick about 12 laps to this, or rather, a little bit more than 12, about 17.
It's go time now. We saved for those first little bit. I backed it down, tried to run a decent little saving pace there, and now it's time to go, see if we can put a gap on these guys.
Good luck the rest of the way here, Shane.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Shane Davis controlling things up at the front of the field as we'll see what he does on this restart. As mentioned, BMP first 5 spots. Davis, Mikey, Coppola, Wojciechowski, Gallimore. First non-driver from that group is Aaron Matthews. Curry, and then Ruff is in the top 10 now, with Sanders also there with Warren Young. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, we'll take it down the Simrat Market restart zone. Were you, Justin?
Yes, let's go. And it's an early launch. Green flag is out, back underway. And a clean launch for both rows. A good restart for the first 3 spots in particular. Rest of the field tries to get sorted quickly. They stayed out on 26 lap old tires. Keep an eye on the back of the field too, but those who took a gamble. Some slides in the heart of the field. That was the 44 that took a bit of a grip out of the line by Sean Rogers. Everyone else continues.
Big slide there for Rogers as his teammates continue to run top 5 here. Very orderly on the restart for them as they're getting right back to working together, trying to get away. A lot of the guys in the back of the field took tires over me, looking to get forward as quickly as they can, as we only have 25 laps remaining in the stage here. Or no, sorry, 15 laps remaining in the stage.
Still plenty of laps to work with here as you see some of the side-by-side. Corey's amongst those who moved up. Same for Wojciechowski. But the inside still the faster line off the restart. Some of the others trying to gain up some ground, includes Coffee. After his strategy call, back in the conversation with the top 10. In fact, he is in 10th in the 54 as some of the others battle behind him.
Yeah, 3 wide here, really tight on the door there. Wilson is Wortman, and one in the wall and the fence behind them, and they're all scattering back there trying to get around him as somebody got pinned in behind up against the wall from that. There'll be looking 2 wide here down in the 3 and 4. Wortman's trying to work over more. That was just really hairy between him and Wilson that kind of led to all bad. And they're going to be 3 wide behind him. That's Wilson on the outside now.
Wade Wilson trying all the different lines to see what sticks. This time it gets him at least clear of Smeets at the minimum. But as mentioned, Coffee amongst those moving ahead here. seems like he's found his rhythm again after he elected to stay out on the first caution. It's been a battle to gain all that track position since then, though, Jeremy.
Yeah, he's definitely struggled his way through the field here. We're still looking 3 wide back here, but it's been a lot harder to pass for than I thought it would be. A lot of really good race cars will make that more difficult, though. It's not easy to cut up through the field when everybody's so strong and on top of each other, as these guys are going to be 3 wide still. Ortman's just keeping the guy on the bottom pinned down on the exit. It makes it really difficult when you're the bottom car to get up off the corner when the guy in the middle is running you that tight.
3 wide in the heart of the field yet again for Wortman Jr. in the middle. He's been amongst those really aggressive to that middle groove all night long here, trying to pinch down a little bit. He's been trying to scratch a claw up 16, one of the biggest movers in the field, and now he's getting hit out of the way. Shane trips up the track. Wortman has to get back out of it.
That was either Shade being a little sick of being pinched or Shade making a mistake because he was being pinched. But either way, Wortman unfortunate there, as he wasn't doing anything dirty and just got kind of bullied out of the position, as Shade will now clear Atwood after he gets that car off his door, though. So it worked out for Shade, but may not be the way that you want to make a pass this early in the race.
You're mentioning some of the potential when it comes to rough. Cavan so far doing a great job to maintain track position. He's the second highest of the teal cars so far. He's been really impressive being able to stick things out. Getting better and better as the race goes on long run.
Yeah, definitely something that I was, talking about last week with Ruff was he had a lot of short run speed, but long runs lacking. And I think this week he's come with an approach that's definitely the opposite of that. He looks really strong in the short run. He had a good restart there. He's, oh, do we have a crash between teammates for the lead? They're going to stack up big. What an avoidance by Cavan Ruff. That's going to be a caution.
Caution flag is out. The leaders wreck, and it's a big one. Good portion of the field crashes. Spear still crashing in. Many more still stacking up on the back straightaway. There they are as... What just happened to Shane Davis from the lead?
They're still wrecking back there.
Something happened drastically to Davis. This replay going to be very telling.
Take a look here. Davis entered the corner on the high side. Oh, he got loose on his own, came down into his teammate, which sent him up in front of his other teammates and just nowhere for them to go. We were on board. Oh, Barry Sanders almost flipped there, and just so many guys piling in here. Wortman with the hood up there. It's going to be big damage for him. And man, that is so unfortunate for so many drivers. Just nowhere to go when it's completely blocked up on the top like that as everybody's sliding up on the exit of the corners.
A lot of people stacked in there. To quote one of the people over the radio, I think it was Matt Cox, there is a game called How Long It Takes to Check Up. Oh my goodness, Barry Sanders knew it flipped over.
It actually almost blew over in both directions when he got hit by, I believe that was Wilson there. Really unfortunate for Barry Sanders, was having such a great run tonight, and that's going to be major detriment to his evening.
Yeah, let's see what happened here from the 18. He was amongst the many who just had to duck down for repairs. And remember, there is that quote-unquote game where you have to check up over a certain point. If you check up in time, you win the game. Wilson, how do you dodge this?
You hope he blows all the way over and you somehow drive underneath him, I guess, because there was nothing else Blaine Wilson could do there. It just got him right in the door. But, that 18 might not be the worst off out of this wreck despite that hit. Looks pretty localized for the damage for him.
Here's a look at the 32, who forgot most of their decals tonight, except for the all-important headlights and taillights. Well, headlight and taillight just got demolished here.
Oh, he had it miss in the last second. That car just came right back up in front of him. Oh, I think hits 12 a little bit there, too, for good measure.
Pardon me, that was with believe it was the 44. Yes, well, yes, it was Sean Rogers.
And Rogers' earlier incidents what put him back there in that mess to where he got caught up in that wreck. So just kind of a domino effect over the course of the run, put him in that situation. But that has massively changed the race. We're going to see some different players up front now, and we see Kevin Ruff there in third. We had some great work by our producer DJ Klein being on board for a great ride through that wreck at the beginning live, and he did a whale of a job missing that thing.
So we're coming up to a restart. Much of the field demolished from that incident. Just 15 cars, give or take, made it through cleanly. Everybody else just got their cars demolished. A 6-lap dash to decide the stage. So it's going to be Mikey, it's Koppel in second, Ruff and Curry, the top 3 for the restart. Green flag's out to this SWM restart zone. Great restart for the BMP machine. Not so great restart for Ruff.
He stayed side by side with Coppola though, so he's going to have a chance to try to pick up P2 from here. Coppola looks like he had a track worker with that paint scheme, but Kevin Ruff fighting for that second place position, trying to break up the teammates from running 1-2 here.
That was a bit out of pocket, but these drivers trying to find clean pockets to battle. Bit of a squeeze for the 14 on the 77. They battle side by side for second. Mind you, a lot of the Aero drivers still coming in. Sean Rogers had to come back in a second time, by the way. He's just spun onto pit road. Everybody else battles as the 77 moves up. Ruff does have a bit of damage to his car. That might be holding him up a little bit.
Yeah, we saw, I thought he got through the wreck clean. Maybe he did get a piece of it that I didn't quite notice and led the back, because he's definitely strung with that this round, which is unfortunate for him. Hopefully when the stage runs here in a few laps, we'll go down and get that fixed. As we have a new player here up to third, Johnny Shade all the way up to third, and Shane White, we know he has fresh tires. He could get something done to win the stage here.
He and Shade both have fresh tires here. Shade trying to rip the bottom. Side by side for second, goes for the side trap, trying to take the air off, didn't get close enough as Wyatt now gets poked underneath by the 14.
Kevin Ruff recovering after we saw a bit of a slide on the backwards of the restart, getting back to the inside here, trying to make up some positions again. Been really impressed with him this evening. Shane Wyatt's going to get a bit of a run there out of the trial though, and he's going to be trying to carry momentum down here in the 1 and 2 as the 45 of Shades working the inside line. He might clear Coppola, get side by side with Bikey here.
Wyatt trying to run the wall, causes checkups, and they're starting to slam. 14 gets into a shoving match with the 28 of Curry. As the battle is on for second. Shade clears on by for the spot. Couple laps to go in the stage. Can the 27 hold on as they still fight for second?
Yeah, that was a very interesting moment there. It looked like Shane White just pulled out of the wall a little bit too hard, and it's kind of, oh, we're wrecking big.
Caution flag is out. The birthday boy, Coffee involved. And we're under caution. Middle miss involved. Curry also taking a slide. That ends the stage there. Bikey will win the stage as the rest of the field takes the yellow.
Gotta look at this here. Looks like it may have started with the 28 of Brian Curry. Oh, Coffee just took off the bottom, got into the left rear Curry there and triggered that incident.
Ends up hooking him around. We'll take another look here from Coffee.
He's like 3 cars behind Curry here, so he definitely gained a lot of time down through the corner to get to the inside of Curry.
Closes, and the replay cut out. Well, the camera decided, no, we want to take a look at the infield, but it's pit stop time, just like that, Jeremy.
Yep, our leader, Brandon Bikey, stage winner's going to lead him down here with Shade on his bumper and Coppola in third, and they're going to be looking for a battle off pit road here to see who can come out with the lead to start the final stage of tonight's race.
Jose Medina is amongst those who are not in this pit lane shot. So a roll of the dice from at least one. We'll see if there's any two-tire calls or fuel onlys here, because some of the drivers who just pit have had service in the past 8 laps or so. Fuel only, Warren Yun. Race on pit road. Shade got a better pit stop. Mikey lost the net advantage with that sequence.
Oh
No, it's going to go the other way.
Definitely thought Shade was ahead there, but Mikey got the battle off pit road according to the sim.
A quick break. Jose Medina rolls the dice. He leads at Kansas. Welcome back to tonight's coverage of the Thomas Mullins 300 from Kansas. So we're under yellow, getting ready for the restart. Under 110 laps to go. This to determine how the race goes. Medina taking a bit of a risk here. This is the first time up in front, Jeremy. He's got not that old tires though, so it's not a massive gamble.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a gamble, but like you said, he's not going to be in too much of a hole here. It's going to be interesting if his fuel mileage is looking right for him to make this work, but I would assume if he made the call, he's definitely confident in it.
Green flag's out of the SimRap Market restart zone. Remember, we'll be doing a giveaway in a few laps' time for a gift card for SWM. Medina starts off pretty clean. Wyatt battling the first side-by-side for third spot. Clears on by the 45. And now Wyatt on equal footing, ready to battle.
Got a little bit of help from his teammate there behind him, looking to the inside. Oh, what? Someone just snapped into the outside wall on the outside. I think that was Kenny Coppola.
Caution is out, and it's another BMP car having some problems as of late. Haven't seen the death wiggle like that recently, but it's going to bring us the RS button boxes replay.
Yeah, we'll watch it down here. Obviously got loose. We'll see. Just kind of transitioned over a seam. It all looks fine. And right there, it just starts to come around a little. And I'm assuming he's going to snap the wheel right pretty quickly here. Yeah, there it goes.
Bye-bye race car.
Yeah, that was a massive hit for him. That one would have hurt if we were looking at a real racetrack.
Here's the look for the onboard camera.
Yeah, just a little bit too much wheel back to the right there, and that's what'll happen.
Fields, what was a great run for him so far tonight. A couple top offs, Cox, Middle Miss, Sanders, and once those coming in. Do have a lucky dog. This caution flag, a rare lucky dog here for any of the races, it seems, at Kansas Spear. So, let's take an opportunity to go with our giveaway. Remember, tonight we're giving away $12 to simrapmarket.com. We'll take that opportunity to do that giveaway right here, right now. So, the giveaway question is this. The first person to get this answer will get an opportunity, this gift card. Who was the first ever winner at Kansas Speedway in the history of the circuit in the NASCAR Cup Series? Answer without Google now. Suspense for the gift card here tonight for SimRap Market. Chance for some paint schemes to be able to get your car designed up here, Jeremy.
Yeah, do some great work there. I have a partner of mine that I work with a lot, some fixed stuff. Matt Tomaleri, who does a lot of work for them, so I always want to give a shout out to him as well, and do some work there. And they'll be on board me this Friday. I'm going to be racing at the Indiana 500 over on IDK Player, if I can shout that out as well, with SimRap Markets on the car with Matt Liveries as well.
Indiana. Gonna have a great time. We have a answer. The answer is way wrong. I will just say that because this track opened in the 2000s. So, a lot of people taking some guesses here, Jeremy. I'm not going to let you answer because I think...
I was about to go type in chat myself.
You... All right, so we'll try this restart. 104 to go. Medina's still front. Mikey, Wyatt, Shade, Matthews, Ruff, Fluger, along with Harper, Young, and Christensen. Your top 10. All set to go. Green flag is out, back it away.
Yeah, notice the track is looking a lot darker here right now, Justin. You have some shade and even a little fog rolling in, so that might change the handling of quite a few of these race cars.
Look at that. Medina just got peeled off the bottom by a good start for the 23. Wyatt now going for second instead in the side-by-side as the fog starts to settle over Kansas.
Yeah, it was really aggressive restart there for Wyatt. Just couldn't quite get to the inside. Bikey's going to close off that on the inside. That always looks really scary when somebody's coming down across the bottom, but he was clear there, so all is good. And Medina will lead that lap as the field is chasing behind him.
Good chase going on by some of these drivers. Johnny Shea chasing the middle at the lift with the car getting tight. And keep in mind, this could play a huge effect on how these cars handle. The sessions were very foggy, Jeremy, in officials all week. It's like a open all of a sudden.
Yeah, it definitely really changes the way the car drives. The temperature of the track is going to go way down, and also just like the pressure of the air changes the way the air affects your race car as well. So it'll be interesting to see if anybody had a car that was built to expect this to happen in second half race. It's just such a sudden change. I feel like it's been sunny the entire race, and all of a sudden it looks like it's about to pour.
Hopefully it doesn't. It's not supposed to in the sim, but you never know. As Harper makes a pass. Battle is on for the race lead. Side by side, Medina has lost the edge at the scoring loop. 27 of the 5, getting themselves clear. Medina had moved up top, and it didn't work the way Jose Medina was hoping.
Yeah, definitely some dicing up for the front here. Bikey's leading over Matthews. Medina's still holding in there strong, though. He's doing a great job with the older tires, keeping up P3. Doing very well, and three of our leaders hit the wall there off of turn 4. Wyatt's going to get to the inside of Medina with that move as Matthews is all over Bikey for a lead.
Trying to provide pressure, but still. Look at some of these drivers slip their way past for third. Contact! Medina trying to check up and cross underneath Wyatt. Johnny Shade almost got sent for a ride.
Yeah, definitely a very hairy moment there for those guys, and man, Medina is sideways there underneath of Shane Wyatt as Shade is looking to recover behind him. Medina's just got to hold on here. You know you're at a little bit of a deficit, so don't wad up your car here when you're the only one on your strategy.
Definitely don't want to kill the machine. That's to say the very least. Past halfway, by the way, in the race. Most of the field sticking low. Wyatt hits the apron. A sketchy move, having to block both lines, gets it done. But now the top two are starting to extend out here, Jeremy. Brendan and Aaron in the 27 of the 5 checking out with all this battling going on behind the 23.
Yeah, those two definitely gotten further away than we've seen anybody get away on the short run as far as two cars just breaking from the front of the field like this. But Johnny Shade looks like he's going to work his way in the P3. He'll start to try to reel those guys in. Shane Wyatt's still fighting back on the bottom, though. He's going to be able to hang side by side as we see Tim Harper on the outside, and Medina now as Medina continues to fall through the field with his older tires.
This is wow. We continue on to see how the team dynamics shift. Remember, we're talking about BMP domination, that all of a sudden, chaos from the race lead. Remember with Shane Davis. Now, it seems like the Precision Speed Solution, or big cars, starting to populate the non-top 2 spots. Still a beast mode car leading up front. These two, see here, Arrow hooking up to the back end, doing a really good job getting the yardstick out. They're up by 7/10.
The sun just came back out here at Kansas, so we'll see if that puts a big change on how these cars are driving up front. Maybe that'll affect why they were pulling away so much. Maybe they were a little better with the shade on across the racetrack, and we'll start to see people close in with the sun back out. These two have been just tied at the hip on this run. I mean, they've been dead even, nose to tail like that the entire run. Not much of a variation between their speed.
Davis, by the way, he's still running despite all that hard contact. He's in 11th. So despite the pure chaos caused, he didn't get as much damage as you would think from a stack up like that.
That car looks like it may be fully repaired for him, so he probably is still a contender to win this race. And I mean, count your blessings if you're him, because that could have been really bad, and it was really bad for a lot of other drivers. So he's gonna keep his nose forward and definitely wants to avoid having another situation like that happen.
Victor Pfluger, very quiet tonight. He's still up 23. Your thoughts on Pfluger's race so far as he tries to cut ahead?
Yeah, probably the first time we've really mentioned him all night tonight, and just been doing a good job keeping the, well, has been doing a good job keeping the car clean. Almost tore a fence down there off of turn 4, but we just seem to be a curse tonight here. We might want to stay off the onboards for a little while.
Commentator's curse, it's 100%. Johnny Shade, after looking solid to start off the run, starting to fade back a little bit. Right now, he's getting past left and right. Now he's got Warren Young to his outside.
Yeah, we see in front of him, Tim Harper starting to make himself known up there in the top 5 as well, in the black and green 56 machine. And these two are going to try to settle out that battle for 6th, though, as Shade is going to look possibly not going to quite get clear of Young. And Young in the fence, that's going to help Shade, and those two are still stuck side by side, though, as here comes Pfluger looking to push his teammate.
See some of those temperature reads, by the way, on your screen. Track temp is about 81. So around the average of where A opens win. Much of the week with the cloudy, foggy conditions. Sun is currently steaming its way through the clouds. And our driver that took some hard hits earlier is trying to move ahead is that 9 car. That is Taylor. He's also gotten basically all the damage repaired, at least it looks like.
Yeah, he definitely does. He wasn't too happy after that incident earlier. Hopefully he's calmed down a little now with the cars running cleaner and can focus on getting himself a good finish, because he's definitely got... Oh, there is a caution, and it is Jamison Middleness again. He cannot catch a break.
Because that would also involved, and we're under caution once again. Still 89, 90 laps to work with. Let's take a look at the replay.
Happened right behind the driver we were watching there, and he just came down on Atwood there. I don't know if he got loose on the transition or just didn't know he was there, but kind of just turned himself down the front stretch and took the 91 with him.
Bit of a sketchy moment once again. But yeah, just trying to clear himself.
He must either never got a 3-wide call or didn't care if he got a 3-wide call. I would probably bet that he didn't get it based on how aggressively he turned down the racetrack there. It doesn't seem like something a driver would have done if they knew the person was to their inside.
That incident puts under caution. A reminder one more time for those taking part in the giveaway. We are giving away a $12 simwrapmarket.com gift card. The question, who was the driver who picked up the first ever win in the NASCAR Cup Series at Kansas Speedway? You want to win the gift card? Answer the question in the chat box as you watch along tonight. So far, no right answers have been given.
Saw your tires spinning on Mikey there as they were changing. It's probably not too easy for the changer to tighten the lug nut while that's going on, but we're going to have Schmitz win the race off pit road here. It looks like he tried an alternate strategy, possibly 2 tires or no tires even maybe on that car.
So repairs being done for some, but we did have another driver stay out. Ruff has stayed out. The Mega Motorsports entry trying something different. And another risk being taken here in this race. Let's take the opportunity if we can to speak with somebody while we work under the caution flag, just in the midst trying to pick name out of the hat. The hat has Jordan Smeets. Jordan Smeets, do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you. What's going on?
Up and down the running order here tonight, you just tried a strategy gamble. Why did you make the call you did? It appears potentially fuel only, if not 2 tires.
Yeah, it was. I just took fuel only. I wanted to see where my tires are wearing because the track is wanting to snap the car to the right on exit. So I've been making crazy changes to this thing, and I finally got it feeling where like it was last week. So I wanted to see what it was doing, and I got 2 sets. I didn't want to put myself in a hole where I couldn't take tires at the end. I want to be able to make that choice. So
How difficult is it now with the tire roulette? Because I'm sure you're not one of the I'm sure you're not the only person having this situation.
yeah, it usually doesn't come into play too much, but every year Kansas is one of them that we wish we had 2 more sets of tires. You can't get enough tires here. So, but we're only at 97, so I think I can hold on. I'm not going to obviously stay up here, but we can hold on to 10. Maybe I'll shoot down pit road and do something crazy in 30 laps.
Why don't you get back to your team here? Good luck on the restart.
Thank you.
George Smeets now set to go. One of the Beast Mode Performance cars. And hopefully is in the right place to go. We have a winner. One Man Wolfpack has picked up the Simrap Market gift card. Congratulations, One Man Wolfpack, on winning the prize as they work their way down the restart zone, brought to you by Simrap Market. Battle is on. Gavin Ruff, person to stay out this caution, and the 22 is getting past very quickly.
Yeah, he's definitely at a bit of a deficit to those who took tires. Rough with the clean air is going to be able to make his older tires work a little bit longer here, and Schmitz in the middle, he's got to be careful there. He's going to get passed on both sides, and look at that, his teammate back up front, Shane Davis, he's going to try to get back into contention for the win of this race.
How about that? But the battle is on for the lead. Wyatt uses the top. Shane Wyatt to the point. Matthews to second as Bikey got trapped. Wyatt's led a couple laps so far in this race. But the problem is, he's not content on just staying up front. He's now letting by Matthews for the lead.
And Matthews had a really good corner there down on the bottom, got clear, didn't even really have to run a slide. I mean, he didn't even come all the way up, and he still took the lead from Wyatt there. So they're going to settle back down in the line single file here, as here comes Tim Harper in the middle on the outside of Bikey there for third.
How about that right now? The old tire's not working. Timothy Harper, you're giving a lot of conversations about him, as joined up front. Davis, he's now joined the conversation. There's a look at Harper. Hit the wall in qualifying. He's up in the conversation for the race lead.
Yes, he is, and we saw him have an incident earlier in the race. He's been spending his entire time recovering from that, but he's back up there now. We have all of our contenders in the picture right now. So great racing up front. These guys all could have a chance to win the race up here. So many good race cars.
Matthews takes the lead. Harper trying to take the air off the spoiler. Big checkup for the race lead. So from just about the back to now battling up front. Harper for the point takes it.
Takes to authority there as he clears himself into turn 1, chooses to run the middle and take the air off the front of that 5. He's going to slide up in front of Corey Moore, who's worked his way up to P3, followed by Victor Pfluger up to 4th.
It's that charge we're talking about by some of those PSS backing, now getting their positions back after staying out previously.
Matthews is not done yet. He's looking back for his lead here, Justin.
How does he do it is the question. He seems committed to the bottom. How do you do this pass if you want the lead in the case of Matthews?
Hey, he's just got to work him over, keep clean air on the nose, just run different than what Tim's running out in front of you and hope the tires come back to you. Don't force something and hurt your race car and hurt your tires. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
Right now, 3 of the top 4 have PSS motors underneath them. No place to go for Matthews, as many of the errors are starting to run the choo-choo train up topside. And this is going to be the tough thing the rest of the way here too, Jeremy, is plotting and planning how your fuel runs are going to look like. We already heard the conversation on the tire stints that impacted some of the pit stops for many of the drivers earlier. Now too, as they battle for the race lead like this, they're going to eventually have to duck down pit road. They are 10 laps away for the green light on fuel.
Yeah, they're definitely all going to be paying attention to that. Probably most of them will be looking to split the run roughly in half, but you know, you could see some people run a bit of an overcut, hope for a caution on the long side of the run. I don't think we'll see anybody undercut it too massively, especially up front. Just not much of a reason to do it. You're going to hurt yourself too much on the back end of the run towards the finish of the race doing that. But it'll be interesting to see the strategy variants and see if anybody can pull a rabbit out of their hat and take something that maybe we weren't expecting to make it work.
Corey Moore, he's now going up front. Look at this, we've seen him run topside, be committed to that all night. Now works with his teammate to see what he can do. One prefers the bottom, one's the top. Not bad so far. Your thoughts on Corey now joining the conversation?
Yeah, definitely a guy we haven't really seen him much of tonight, but he's up here now when it matters, and he looks like he has a really good piece. And you know, we saw beast mode all up front earlier, and right now we see the precision speed solution and dig cars with all the similar setups under the hood up front now. Is beast mode there in 6th and 7th, going to be looking to see if they can break their way back in the top 5, trying to pass Aaron Matthews.
Corey Moore to the point. They're a different leader in this race. His first time up front. Always helping out Pfluger on the draft. That pushes Pfluger to a race-high 2nd also. Just 75 laps to go at the stripe as we continue on with this one.
Yeah, Tim Harper was leading down the backstretch last lap, and he's 4th now. So that's how quickly this can happen here at Kansas. I mean, this is a really racy racetrack, and these guys are moving all over the racetrack right now. This is really exciting to watch.
Harper communicating on the radio, trying to have some give and take. And that's going to be the key thing, too. A lot of people going to have to see where that give and take is, especially with how this is now going on strategy.
Yeah, you're going to be looking to, work with the guys around you, run as clean of lap times as you can, especially when you have like teammates running 1, 2, 3 right now with the dig cars. So those guys will try to work down the straightaways, keep each other pushing forward with the air, and maybe even pit around the same time, see if they can make that work as well. Or you could even see, one of them go on an alternate strategy while the other 2 run the optimal strategy, try to cover all their bases as well in case something unexpected does happen with a caution.
Some of the others battle in the back of the field. Curry trying to recover some positions from earlier. Decent drive back up to the pack. Already back to 9th. As here's Young. 20 spots gained for Warren, by the way.
Impressive drive by the driver of the 1 car tonight. We've seen him working his way through the field. He's been hanging out in the top 10 now for this last little bit, and we'll see if he's got anything more under the hood to make some more out of this. And looking like he's got a bit of a run curry there for the entry of the corners, and I think he might have a little something for us here. Warren Young's definitely very strong.
Right now, Warren, no place to go. Yun stays back in the line. It's almost like a choo-choo train that's now formed up here, and the tough thing is, the further back in the train you go, Jeremy, the worse the dirty air is.
Yep, just gonna keep driving worse and worse for you further back there, and that's why you gotta be even more patient with your tires. If you try to force the car to drive as fast as the guy in front of you when you're following him, you're just gonna hurt your stuff even more. As we see the biggest movers on the night, Victor Pfluger currently running in the second position, up 29 spots on the evening. What a drive by him to be up here contending for the win with 72 to go.
Top three continue to run the boards. Wyatt, the third of those drivers, you see those most positions gained on screen. Pfluger still number one on that leaderboard. And it's an art form to do this run up the top of the racetrack too. If you say burn up the tires, it's so hard to make the car stick. It's where a lot of teams see that setup start to shift.
Yeah, it also, you know, depends on what the driver likes as well. Like, some guys are just better with the tighter race cars, so they don't mind building tight. And Pfluger's gonna be looking for a lead here as Harper's working underneath his teammate behind him for third, but that gives Matthews right on the high side. These guys are just battling back and forth all over the place, and Pfluger is gonna take the lead from Corey Moore.
Pfluger for the first time takes the race lead. Moore may have burned up his tires a little bit with how tight he's getting off some of these corners maybe.
And here comes Bikey and Davis into the picture as well. We're about to see some change up here. I think Wyatt and Moore are both going backwards here. Matthews up to second, Harper up to third, and those two beast mode cars are looking to follow suit.
Yeah, right there, just too much roll, having to let it out to make sure the car sticks in the corner. That costs Moore a lot of ground, so Pfluger to the point. Harper looking for second. Timothy Harper takes the huge dive, pokes up to P2. See leapfrogs in front of Matthews, into the wall goes the top two.
Yeah, it looked like Harper just kind of, oh, they're going to be blocking that. That's a block right there down in the turn 3 by Harper, but he's going to take that block, take the momentum and clear Victor Pfluger for the lead, and Aaron Matthews is going to follow him in for a second here, and he's got a bit of a run on Harper to try to make a move and then down here in the turn 1.
Another poke yet again. Harper's led 6 laps so far tonight. Bobble just trying to make sure the grip sticks. Oh, a bit of contact. They're getting the elbows out, battling for second.
Yes, they are, and I think that Harper is building tight here. I think that Pfluger is building tight. I think Matthews still looks pretty neutral. I got a good feeling right now those two beast mode cars there in 4th and 5th might be the best handling race cars of our top 5, just watching the way they're coming up off the corners right now.
Alex Coffey still trying to make his way back to the pack. He's been pushed around a couple times here this evening. Now joins the endless line of cars. Seems to be building up topside. Decent recovery for Coffey.
A little bit of a moment there. He gets a little loose as Wyatt took away his air and he had to go find clean air, and the second the clean air hit the nose, the car wanted to spin on him. That's another thing you got to be careful with, is when you're in the dirty air and you suddenly get clean air, it can just absolutely snap around on you out of nowhere, and that's what makes running so difficult here when you're moving across all these different lanes with people in front of you running every lane of the racetrack.
The 27. Now it's third, by the way.
Yeah.
Brendan's been doing a great job tonight.
Yes, he has. We saw him be one of the dominant cars earlier, had a bit of an incident with his teammate, won a stage. Just, you know, he's been working his way forward and back from everything recovering, and I think he's definitely going to have a say in the deciding factor if he wins this race. He's working over Pfluger for second. That car is working the bottom really, really well.
It's hooked up. There he goes. Up to second.
He got a little too sideways though, so little run for, he's going to cut that foul and get that clear right back there on Pfluger. Yeah, here comes Coffey up the fourth. He got past Shane Davis, so Coffey's definitely got a good piece right now. He's working his way forward. He'll be in third in no time with the rate that he's coming.
Coffey doing a great job now on the long run in particular. He battles with Davis. Near contact in the line. They single file out as they continue to group up. Pit stop window is open, by the way. So it's going to be the question, when do you pit, Jeremy?
Yeah, I think we're still a bit away from the first takers, realistically. You gotta, you know, spread the wealth for your tires. You gotta go a little further on these tires so you don't have to go too far on the next set. So looking maybe a little bit closer to 50 to go, maybe even more like 45 to go for some of these guys to start looking at pit road. But, you know, never say never. Somebody could pit way earlier than that and try to make the undercut work.
Battle is on for the lead. Mikey nearly got to the fender of Harper. Couldn't get the side draft to stick though. And it looks like Harper going to have to play things a bit differently here. He's already changed his line to go defensive.
That's about all you can do if you're Harper here. And Mikey's got to be smart here. He's got to time when he wants to make this pass because Pfluger's right there in third. And he's ready to pounce for second. And you don't want to lose a spot trying to make up the spot for the lead here. He's going to have a big run off of 2 though with a chance to do it down here in the 3 and 4.
Caution. Caution flag is out. And
Aaron Matthews.
he was running 8th. Under caution. Looks like the 1 may have been in it too.
I believe Matthews' night might be over here. That looks very, very terminal.
All right, spinning boxes replay. Oh wow, he got loose on his own again.
Nowhere for the 1 to go. He took a huge, like, I don't know if he went all the way down the inside wall there or not, but some big hits there for some of our guys who were having really good nights. Just nobody wanted to see that right there.
No meatball flags, interesting enough. This caution, yeah. 2 of the aero cars getting involved.
That's a bad day for your organization right there. 2 of their guys, good runs, and wipe each other out. Oh, Curry got a pretty big piece of that there on the bottom too.
That's brought everybody down to pit road. This will take everybody to the end on fuel. And now it becomes the huge question on how the tire sets look after this pit stop. That's going to be a huge risk for some of these teams.
Yeah, guys who saved the set so far here this evening are licking their chops right now. They'll be hoping for a caution later in the evening to use that extra tire set to give themselves a chance to win. As everybody, mostly taking 4 tires here, I believe. The whole field should at least be taking 4.
Well, some people didn't. Shane Davis and Brandon Mikey just elected to take fuel only. This caution. Jose Medina also had a 9-second pit stop, so a few drivers are trying something different. And this has to come down to the tire set limitation here. It has to.
It does, and that's why those guys saved the set earlier because, while we're all even now, we're not even because the guys who didn't take a set there are going to be way off on this run, and if it goes green to the end, they have absolutely no chance to win the race. But they almost had to make that decision with so many laps left. You almost had to expect another caution at some point, so you kind of have to save the set of tires here. But I think there's probably some drivers throughout the field, if we went through the entire breakdown, that probably used their last set right here as well, Justin.
Which is very risky for the rest of the race since we still have 58 laps to go, though.
Yes, we do, there's some drivers hoping for a yellow later. There's some drivers hoping for absolutely no cautions, and we'll see who gets their wish.
Down up to a restart. Davis and Mikey, front row. Harper and Pfluger, row 2. Coffey and Wyatt, row 3.
And the big thing for these two beast mode cars up front, obviously no tires here. If they need a caution later to have a chance to win, cannot be the caution though. So they're going to have to be very careful as the field works by them here to keep their cars clean.
Let's find out how this goes. 56 laps to go in this one. All tires up front. Fresh tires, start row 2. OB Builders Cup Series action continuing on here. Engines fire for Davis with the SWN restart zone. Back underway. Battle is on for second. Already a great start by Harper.
Harper clear there to the top. He makes a very aggressive move, gets to the outside of Davis. He's going to take the lead out of turn 2, and he's going to be clear down the back straightaways. Coffee works the bottom of 3 wide. He's going to go down there to block that air.
All tires not working at all on Davis's car. They are somewhat on the 27. Pfluger gets blocked off. He tries to move the BMP car out of the way. Harper tries to play the different lines now. Now Nigel Christensen has joined the conversation, trying to get his way around the 27 next. Oh, and a close down by the 27 of Ike. Pfluger peeled up to the high side to pass him.
Nigel Christensen, that's a driver we have not talked about here today. Our Talladega winner up here in the top 5 late, trying to make some noise, as Dig Motorsports is going to be running 2nd through 5th here, chasing Timothy Harper.
All sorts of drivers looking to go and dig, and do a bit more digging. Talladega winner now in line. Coffee went outside Pfluger. Pfluger already one of the first people to move up top side, looking for clean air.
Yeah, he moved around pretty early on the last run as well, which is what got him up front, but then we did see him start to struggle a little bit right before AL came out, but he wasn't struggling too bad. I think he's done a really good job at taking care of the tires even when he's running the top lane, despite it typically being worse on the tires here. So he's going to be challenging, as we're looking at Shane Wyatt here up in the top 5 as well, followed by Blaine Wilson and Brian Curie, and Mikey's going backwards, but Davis is going way backwards in a hurry. Look at that back there. He just got passed by like 5 cars down the back straightaway.
It's like quicksand right now with those tires. The car just will not go. He's right now just trying to stay out of the way of everybody. He needs a caution and needs one badly if he wants a true shot at this point of this race.
Yes, he does. They're going to be 3 wide there, almost in contact with Mullins. That'll get him back clear. Barry Sanders is going to be working behind him. That car is a few laps down, however.
Driver came in as the 1 seed in the points. Zipped by everybody as we take a look at some of the others. Try and zip forward. Looking for the 12, Nick King. Seen his camera earlier on tonight. He's amongst those trying to run the bottom in the Hornet's Nest.
Yeah, he's working his way through traffic right now, very focused. We saw him struggling a little bit earlier a few times in traffic with getting into the apron, getting himself a little sideways. Had a bit of an incident, but he's done a great job recovering, has been a lot more in command of his race car since then, and I think that's going to lead to a better finish for him tonight than what he was probably looking at around that time.
See him just trying to stay focused. Up on the wheel also. But the caution flag is out. We're back at our yellow. And it's Jose Medina. We can confirm in the 48.
What do the BMP cars do now? It might be a little bit too early, but we saw at least Davis fall through the field. Gotta wonder if he's thinking, I just gotta come take the tires.
At the RS button boxes replay. Yeah, got loose on his own, then came across the 1.
That's 2 in a row for Warren Young. So unfortunate for him. Just somebody getting loose in front of him and nowhere he can go. And just, I mean, what can you do as a driver there when they're just loose in front of you like that coming down the racetrack?
Rides. Hello, car.
Just unfortunate there. Oh, he got hit from behind pretty hard there too as he saw the car jolt forward. Yeah, back bumper has seen better days. I don't know who that was, but they were flying in there. I wonder if the yellow triggered a little late on that one.
Yeah, that car had been flying up to that. I believe that was Ryan Huff. Now brings some people down pit road. That, interesting enough, does not include Shane Davis. So Davis seems to be in the made bed of limited tires here. A lot of the others now hoping to see what they can do here with the track position kept up front. 47 laps to go at the stripe.
Yeah, just kind of a rock and a hard place here for Shane Davis and Brandon Bikey. I can't tell you if this is the right or wrong decision. We're really not going to know until the end of the race. I mean, it's a gamble, you know. A very common term across the sim these days is tire lotteries, and this race has definitely turned into a tire lottery for those guys.
That quick break. Restart coming up in just a few moments. Watching Bowling TV from Kansas.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: OCONEE.
With the launch of OCONEE Entertainment and OCONEE Competizone alongside OCONEE Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at McConeySetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at OCONEE Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back, everyone, to tonight's coverage here on Bowling TV for the Thomas Mullins 300 here from Kansas. So far, it's been a back and forth affair when it comes to some of the lead lappers. Mikey, for example, slipping back on old tires to 11th, has led the most laps tonight with 62. Shane Davis, also on old tires, is back in 19th, 33 laps led. But Timothy Harper is third in that category and leads coming up to the SWM restart zone. Can Harper pull off the race win here this evening from Kansas? We're 46 laps away for the true answer. Green flag back in the air.
Very important restart here, as it could be the last one of the night. If we go green, Harper is going to be clear. They're going to be looking 3 wide behind him, wide all the way up there against the outside wall.
All sorts of searching and dancing around off this restart. It's a whole flurry of Toyotas now up in the front of the field. It's like Talladega with some of the team dynamics. Already some people trying to cut off the bottoms of the racetrack to make sure they hold on to the preferred line. Of note, Coffee jumped to second off the restart.
Yeah, it's looking like a fixed race up front right now as the top 7 are using Precision Speed Solution setups. We're seeing the opposite end of the strategy we saw earlier when all the beast mode cars got up front, when we saw some alternate strategy. This is the result of that. The strategy has worked out in all these cars' favor, and that's why we're up front with a chance to win here late.
Still going to be a curious time here what the rest of these drivers do in near contact once again for Corey Moore. And so at this point, what's that communication like when you know you're basically in the same camps up front here, and now you've got a whole bunch of buddies around you to race?
Yeah, it's almost a lot more difficult, at the same time being a little bit easier too, because like obviously they know each other so well, but because they know each other so well, these are the guys you want to make a mistake around the least. So you almost have to be a little more timid. As we get a little bit further into it here, though, we'll definitely see a lot more of the gloves coming off between these two.
Still for second. Fluger takes the top, makes the pass. Timothy Harper's gone, by the way. He ran half a second quicker than everybody else.
I'm not quite sure where Harper found this much speed from. I've not seen anybody do this all day, and he is just absolutely checked out. They were all so busy racing each other, they forgot the 56 was leading the race.
Did he just want a cushion and just floor it? I'm not quite sure. But he's back to running equal lap times to everybody else in the pack. We'll have to see if his tires start screaming from him pushing that hard.
Yeah, definitely already ran a slower lap that time than Fluger. We'll see this time when they come to the line if the lap times stay that way, but Harper was obviously pushing very hard there. Fluger's also driving away now from the cars behind him, though. Another tenth of a second, no, actually more like half a tenth to Fluger that time. Just a little bit faster out back behind Timothy Harper.
See that right here. George Smeets doing a good job with the BMP entry. Smeets, we heard him talk about trying different things, trying different tire strats to be able to try and equalize the sets. And well, that car seems to be handling exactly what the 22 wants it to do right now.
Yeah, he's definitely working pretty good right now. We saw him take fuel only earlier, and that's come back to give him a situation where he's on tires here, so that worked out well for him as he's on the outside of Alex Coffey, and they're going to be side by side here still for P3 down here in the turns into turn 3.
Yeah, it looks like Smeets trying to clear himself, nearly turned down into Coffey's fender. That causes massive checkups. Just not able to find a hole. And it's so important to be able to time that up right, to be able to make sure you're in the hole, to be able to make sure you don't drop in line, otherwise you get left in the sucker hole like Talladega.
Yeah, definitely the worst thing for these cars is to be side drafted on both sides. You just go backwards in a hurry, so you got to be able to protect one of your quarter panels at the very least when you're racing in a situation like this. But sometimes you just end up in a situation where there's nothing you can do about it and you're the one in the middle.
Here's a look at that red car. Talked about him earlier. Matt Cox. His 32 up 15 from when it first started. Looking like he's just trying to save. He'll have a lot of off throttle time at the moment.
Yeah, this was my pick to win earlier in the evening. Definitely has not been a strong showing for him for his standards whatsoever. Usually very strong long run driver. See him up contending for the wins. I don't think we've seen him crack the top 10 tonight really.
No, haven't seen him be able to break through this hornet's nest that's really started to form up. Hornet's nest right now seeing plenty on the bottom. Well, there's a contact there that pushed Christensen up. Better place all over the place, trying to make sure he doesn't run over the 20. And now, everyone looks to regroup from that. A little bit of coiling up, checkup after checkup here.
Yeah, just stacking up kind of a little bit more like a plate race, like you've been saying. You get these lines doing different things with the air and different forms of momentum and just kind of force the lift in certain situations that you may have momentum, but there's nowhere to go with it.
Smeets getting swallowed up in the middle. And the thing about the front straightaway and all this too, Jeremy, is usually the longer the run, the better up top it is. That top line gains a lot more power down the front straightaway as the race goes on because of your ability to defend with it.
Yes, it does. The momentum matters more and more. Having the RPM wound up in the engine from running the top starts to matter more. You're just carrying more speed across the entire racetrack, and that just becomes overpowering to a certain point where there's just nothing you can do as a driver on the inside to beat that. You can try to side draft as hard as you can. Sometimes you'll be able to hang along the side of their door, but not much more you're going to be able to do besides that.
Absolutely. Christensen clears on by a couple of rows of cars. Smeets with all that momentum lost a lot of ground, as you see some of those in the midst of that. Very foggy conditions still again. Nick King amongst those feeling a little bit of pressure from the middle.
Yeah, King has been one of those drivers we've seen overcoming a lot of adversity tonight. I'm really, happy for him to see him up here. It could have went really bad for him. We've seen him have his struggles throughout the season, had some good runs, had some bad runs. So always good to see guys having good evenings, and hopefully he can continue to march forward here and maybe even look towards the top 5 as we get later on in the evening.
Yeah, look at those foggy conditions with how the weather's formed up here. For those curious, by the way, track temp's the lowest it's been, 78 right now, Fahrenheit. And mind you, these started with partly cloudy skies, it's now mostly cloudy. Can't you tell we got all the clouds here saying hello? But up front, it's still Timothy Harper running away. He has still not backed off fully. He's backed off a little bit this time, but the gap is near 2 seconds in clean air.
Yeah, Tim's a really good driver. He knows what he's doing. I'm not gonna question him building this much of a league. So he may have just been saving his stuff for the right time, and track's cooled off. Might have had a setup underneath the hood that was gonna get better as the track cooled off, and this could just be the pace of that race car. He could be untouchable to the end of this race, but there's still a lot of time for the people behind him to get it sorted out and see if anybody can make a charge forward for the lead.
Compare that to some of those in the pack. Some drivers are actually as quick, if not quicker than the leader back here, but the problem is there's only so much you can do when you are stuck in place here.
And the other great thing for Tim, though, like we see on the edge of the screen every time we get these wide shots, he's running the bottom both ends of the racetrack. So he's saving his tires still because he has such a lead that he was able to build. And now he's able to just kind of pace himself. So even as we see Fluger gained about 2 tenths, maybe even 3 tenths that lap, it might be Tim just pacing himself and able to step back forward. But Tim also could have cooked this stuff, and he could be falling back in a curry here, and we could get a very bad lead as we look at Carr off of turn 2.
There he is trying to push the back of Shade. Shade just got squished. Smeet's just in front of him. Still 28 laps to go now at the stripe to work with. We haven't mentioned Greg Carr's name much all night, by the way. He's almost been stuck in place all night where he started, only up 2.
Yeah, he's just been kind of here all night, minding his own business, kept the car clean, and doing a very good job. He's going to get a good finish out of it with the way it's trending currently. I wanted to mention, Johnny Shade just passed all those guys right there. That was a really impressive 3 and 4 to set that up, and Schmeetz is going to get back to his inside here, though, and that 45 might be coming forward, coming to life here with 28, 27 to go as they hit the line.
Yes, indeed. Still about 15 minutes or so of racing to work with to be added up by the minutes. This is one of our longest runs of the day, by the way. How tiring do you think it is for some of these drivers right now, knowing what type of race we've seen? This is our longest run.
Yeah, I mean, they're just working themselves over the course of this run here. Obviously, we've talked about tire saving all night and how much of an effect it's going to have on, the outcome of the race, and this is where we're starting to see it rear its head. We're starting to see that separation in the field again that we've seen throughout the night. The groups are starting to find their own again. As we look at the gaps, Harper's starting to fall back to Fluger, but Fluger has broken away from Wilson, so Fluger is in a really good spot right now if he can get up there and take that lead and maybe control the race himself. As we have a pit stop here for Warren Young. I believe this is an unscheduled stop. Oh, big moment for Carter. He gets in the back, Cox out the front stretch. Cox is Fruvian field.
Flying down to the grass, up the track, into the wall. Matt Cox locks it down. Caution flag is out. There are cars around him. And now this is a big yellow.
So I'm going to say one thing about this. Not making an accusation, just making an observation. His teammates were the ones that needed a yellow, and he just never lifted through the grass here. And then kind of seemed like he did everything he could to bring out the yellow on the racetrack.
Locks it down.
At this point, when he probably could have kept that car going forward.
Yeah, that That might be that is huge. I'm not sure what else to really say here to the teammates.
Just, you know, always question marks when teammates are involved with a yellow like that late in a race, and it looks like that.
And this was not what Timothy Harper wanted to see. That's how big the lead was. A big caution, and we have people staying out. Pit stop time for those who came down, but we have several people that are keeping their cars on the track, and now the strategy roulette is on, Jeremy.
Yeah, this is where races get messy, and this is where we separate the men from the boys, because you are going to have to pull everything tight here and drive as hard as you can to win this race, and especially if you're those guys who stayed out in tires. We're going to see, it looks like we have some 2-tire and 4-tire strategy going on pit road too. We're going to see a lot of a mixed bag here from what we were seeing up front. It's going to look very different than the race we were just watching. Tim Harper just got buried in the field here from the lead. Very frustrating if you're a driver of that 56.
Oh boy, it's all you can say. The top 5 all stayed out. Nick King was a top off. 2 tires for Jordan Smeets again. Shane Wyatt is now your leader. This is a risky move for some of these drivers, but it might be a forced move, remember, because of the tires.
Yeah, some of these guys definitely might have been the ones we said that could have been out of tires, and obviously anybody that pit and took tires took their last sets of air. So I think everybody's got what they got here, so we'll see how it goes to the end of the race.
About to see what happens. A risky time for these drivers to get ready. So the drivers staying out here: Wyatt, Curry, better place, Shane, and Middlemiss, all staying out. Nick King on the top off. Then you have 2 tires for Jordan Smeets. 4 tires for most of the field outside of that one. Your predictions here for this restart, because this could get very dangerous.
Chaos. Nothing more to predict but chaos.
So this is going to get wild. The SWM restart zone going to be a hot button place to drive. Fasten your seatbelts. It's time to go battling once again with 21 laps to go. Green flag is out. This time, no one using the apron. They go up the track instead of down the track. 3 wide to the heart of the field as the pack tries to sort itself out.
Coffee with a massive run on the inside of the racetrack has picked up a ton of positions. Middlemiss up in the Fluger, almost a wreck there. We're going to keep it straight. What a restart by Alex Coffey. He is through with tires. He's in great shape here, Justin.
Luger in a good spot. Right now the first on fresh tires is Coffey, though. A lot of communications popping up over the radio as some of these drivers try and get through the traffic as the caution waves. We're under yellow.
It was a long one there, as that kind of started in 3 and ended on the front stretch. I believe Nigel Christensen may have been the car that eventually triggered the caution here. But that is the chaos that I was expecting, and I'm sure everybody watching at home was expecting with late race restarts.
So the 20, the 91 involved, a couple others also taking some slams, including the 81. Watch the 91 down low.
Looks like Shane Davis turned the 91 there, I believe. Those are teammates, so it can be an interesting conversation between those two, but obviously just led to more of the chaos there that we saw at a turn 4.
Not clear. And that causes the stack up.
That would actually definitely, upon review there, did crowd Davis a little. Looks like he kind of just missed the bottom and tried to get back down. And just, that's late race race, and can't lift if you're Davis there. You see the hole, you got to try to take it. Unfortunate for Nigel Christensen, he had done a very good job tonight and caught up in a wreck here late.
Puts us back under the yellow flag yet again. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back after this. You're watching Ballin TV for tonight's coverage of the Moonshiners.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Drop it.
Welcome back to Ballin TV for more coverage of Moonshiners. A reminder of some of the upcoming events coming up here on the network. On Friday, it's the Mystic Racing League that'll hit the racetrack. Be sure to tune in. The approximate start time for that is 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Then at about 6 p.m. on Sunday, it's Speed U Race for a Ride. Be sure to watch those again here on Ballin TV. Coming up to another restart. All tires in the first 4 positions after a chaotic sequence. 16 laps to decide it for the Simrot Market Restart Zone. Green flag is out. Hurry got a better launch. Actually had to lift to let Wyatt go.
Yeah, definitely not what you want at this point in the race is to get a black flag on a restart. So good job by there by Curry to manage that. Make sure he... Oh, actually, as I say that, he did get a black flag. Brian Curry's going to have to serve a penalty here as they're wrecking in the back.
Absolute chaos. We stay green, 3 wide, 4th, 3rd spot. Not going to be pretty with the squeeze, but Feder Place able to hug the bottom. Coffee and Wilson up ahead of them. Still 2 by 2 for the lead.
Curry takes the lead, but he's for all intents and purposes not a factor here. He will have to serve a penalty within the next couple laps. Probably should serve it this time as he's clear out front.
So the 28 of Curry to the point, but Coffee's going for it. Coffee for the race lead. Going up on the high side. Takes the point with 15 laps to go.
I do believe the 28 has to serve at this time or he should be disqualified from the session. As he's almost crashing here out of turn 2. He is going to crash. Oh, he collected somebody there.
Caution is out again. And it puts us back under the yellow. Curry was trying so hard. After being second to start the lap, it goes wrong.
I'm not sure Ryan Huff would know that the 28 was under penalty as this happened, but I believe if he did, he'd probably be pretty frustrated with the situation right now, given that information.
Just got loose. Does a mighty job trying to fight it, but eventually gives up, and now, after the bobble off the car, just parks it. And now, another restart coming up. The fresh tires have made their way to the front, Jeremy.
Yes, they have, so it's going to be a fight between those guys for the win here. The guys that tried to make the no tires work are going to be struggling quite a bit through the field here with the dirty air, so these guys that we see up front now, these will be our contenders for the win. Alex Coffey in the lead. It's been a long night for him, fought through a lot of things with the strategy, but just like we saw a week ago at Texas, here when it matters most.
Here's a look at the replay again. Seeing some of the incidents really start to pile up here, Jeremy, as time has gone on, as we're back to live.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're not done wrecking yet, because late race restarts at a track like Kansas can get pretty intense.
Look at the replays once again. 20 car having some problems in that, as we've seen earlier. This was the earlier caution. It's part of the many cautions that have been sparked here with this tire strategy difference.
Yeah, just really unfortunate for a lot of guys. I mean, you work all night, you feel like you've done a good job to put yourself in a good position to have a chance to win, and then something just kind of works against you here. But a lot of the guys that are up front now are guys we've seen up front for most of the night. Coffey up there, Wilson, Wyatt, Bikey, Fetterplace. Maybe more so towards the back end of the top 10 most of the night, has a chance to win up here at 5th on this late race restart.
So we get ready for another restart. Your biggest movers and shakers on screen. Ryan Huff up 25, surviving in 7th. Pfluger is the next biggest. He's in 8th. 10 laps to go in the Thomas Mullins 300 here. Now it's going to be a matter of can Coffey hold on. There's still old tires in 3rd, by the way. It's going to make things tricky as Toyotas start in the first 3 rows. First 4, first 5, in fact, on Toyotas. Tim Bratt Market restart zone. Green flag is out. 10 laps to go.
Another really strong launch on the inside line. Wyatt got a great run on his teammate here, Coffey. We know he doesn't have the tires, but he's going to try to make this stick on the bottom. He's going to edge out in front for a moment here. Not quite going to get clear, though. Big run off the outside here for the 54. Not quite. Kind of stalled out there. We're going to be side by side down here in turn 3.
Side by side. The old tires on the inside. New tires on the outside. Coffey is clear. Now, 9 laps to work with in this one.
They are fighting tooth and nail for every little bit of inch on the racetrack right now. We have Coffey breaking away out front, and Blaine Wilson and Bikey clear to 2nd and 3rd as Wyatt in 4th on those older tires.
The old tires are sinking like a lead balloon. Oh, Davis pushes Wyatt up in the wall. Here they go. Davis in the grass. Brings Timothy Harper with them. No caution yet. Davis slides up into traffic and it's his teammate.
That a bit of an ARCA break there. Somebody just murdered Shane Davis on the front straightaway here at Kansas.
Sketchy situation. Sends them all tumbling into the grass.
Yeah, it's a good thing these cars are as safe as they are, because hits like that are so massive.
Cautions breed cautions. Bikey up to second with this caution period. And now it's going to become the question, how good are your restart skills if you want to try and win this race? Let's take another look.
That was the 11 of... Sorry, that was the 11 of Paul Gallimore that came into the... See what he saw here. Yeah, he just couldn't get far enough left, and I think he wasn't predicting that car to come back on the racing surface. But, you know, Davis held his brakes, but when it's in the grass, it's just really hard to get the car to stop, and it slid back up onto the track.
So we're back under the caution flag, coming to 5 laps to go. And we're almost right back where we started with Coffee and Bikey on the front row. What do you do if you're Coffee for what could be the race deciding restart with about 3 to go when we get back going? Or 4 to go, I should say.
Yeah, you just gotta go as hard as you can, give yourself as much space as you can, hope they battle behind you, and feed them all some dirty air.
What about Bikey?
And Bikey's gonna be fighting that as we're gonna pull up Alex Coffee for you here, Justin.
Yes, indeed. Let's bring him on up. Happy birthday, Alex. How are you feeling up at the race lead?
Feeling pretty good. Hopefully we don't get a caution on this next run. I've been feeling pretty good the last few runs, so.
How difficult was it to get yourself back in position like this in the first place after the strategy difference earlier?
It ended up playing out how we figured it would, just having sets for later in the race, so. Wasn't too hard to get up here. It was kind of on a pit cycle or just pit strategy, but I feel like we've had the car all night to be up here, so hopefully we can hold it out.
So what's the approach going to be for this big restart?
Win.
I know that's simple that may sound, but it's going to be a challenge. We'll have to see what happens. Good luck on the restart.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
Alex Coffey, one of the DIG cars, getting ready for a restart. Pivotal restart coming up here. What is going to happen is the question. What are your thoughts here, Jeremy, for a 4 to go restart?
Just gotta push here, do everything you can. It's Kansas, 4 to go. These guys have relatively fresh tires. They're gonna have a lot of grip. They're gonna be able to move around, make whatever they want to make work here. As we see the top 11 Toyotas, the Ford in 12th, and a Chevy in 13th. So Toyota dominance up front here at Kansas, and looking pretty safe to say a Toyota is probably gonna win this race.
Set to go for the restart. 4 laps to the side as they head to the SWM restart zone. Green, green, green. Bikey did not get going. The inside line with a great launch.
Saw the car behind Bikey out of line early there too, refusing to push Bikey after the poor restart for him, as Huff's going to work that outside line there. We're all using every lane of the racetrack right now as Coffey's going to lead them off of turn 2. Nigel Christensen, he wrecked just a few laps ago. He's back up here in second with a chance to win.
Will that be the big difference? A little bit of tire difference on his car. 3 laps to go. Coffey with a better run outside. Bikey able to recover from the poor launches in the middle of 3 wide for third.
I just can't believe Nigel Christensen's back up here contending for the win. We got Huff, Bikey, and Wilson 3 wide back there for third. And Coffey's clear for the lead off of turn 2.
Couple cars scrambling outside the top 10. Huff, he's trying to take away second. The Warrior Racing Machine at the bottom. Not able to get any ground working at the bottom of the racetrack. 2 laps to go from Kansas.
Nigel's still right there with a chance at him. He's going to be all over the 54's bumper, looking for any way around. One at Talladega, not quite the same here at 1.5 miles, but there's going to be a lot of aero games to play here, and obviously he knows how to do that well.
Drives a huge lunge to the inside. Christensen inside, Coffee outside. Christensen almost got himself clear. 1 to go, presented by League Gaming. Christensen gets his first lap led on the night. Now can Coffee get the boards to work up high side?
Gonna need one more chance down in the turn 3 for Christensen. He's gonna have to build a big run here. Might not quite have the chance, Justin.
Christensen tries it anyway. Tries to keep his foot in it. Coffee leaves the door open inside. A drag race side by side. They bump, they slam. It's Coffee who wins on his birthday.
Back-to-back wins for Alex Coffey. What a drive for him.
A phenomenal finish. It comes down to just a couple hundredths of a second, if that. Alex Coffey with the win for Dig. And the rest of the drivers go on to congratulate the 54 on the run. What a finish.
It was just a great race to watch. Coffey definitely earned that one, and very happy to see him get back-to-back victories. He was struggling to finish these races off all season, and now 2 in a row, he's on fire.
The VANLILYS stickers victory lane celebrations on for Coffey. He looks to burn it on down in a softer burnout manner. It looks like it's part of his celebration. Take a step aside, post-race coverage coming up. You're watching the Thomas Mullins 300 from Kansas Speedway here on Ballin TV. Welcome back, everyone, to Kansas Speedway for tonight's coverage of the Thomas Mullins 300, the OB Builders Cup Series, and the Moonshiners Racing League. Let's take a look at your unofficial race results if we can, where in the end, it comes down to a photo finish. The photo finish sees Coffey take the win over Christensen, Huff, Wilson, and Bikey the top 5. Taylor finished in 6th with Carr in 7th, Shade, Fluker, and Harper, your top 10, Jeremy.
And starting outside the top 10, first car to miss tonight is Brandon Fetter placed in 11th. Following him was Nick King in 12th. We saw him have a very up and down evening. Kevin Ruff in 13th, Shane White in 14th on the older tires, and Corey Moore in 15th. Matt Cox, after an incident late, sent him spinning, recovered to 16th. Jose Medina was 17th. Jameson Middlemiss with another big hit at one point tonight was able to hold on to finish in 18th. Aaron Matthews, who also had a big hit, finished 19th, and Jordan Schmeets rounds out the top 20.
Then behind on 21st went to Nicholas Atwood, followed by Chris Spear. Shane Davis finished all the way back in 23rd. Then Barry Sanders and Brian Curry amongst the DNF list. Paul Gallimore, Warren Young back there, along with Ken Coppola in front of Rogers and Boyskowski. The last two finishers in tonight's section, Wortman Jr. and Clark. Look top to bottom at the running order here tonight in this one. As in the end, it is celebrating his birthday today. Alex Coffey coming away with the win. Alex, how does it feel to win on your birthday?
It feels pretty good. Definitely more special than a regular day, I guess. I'll take it. Definitely had a good car under us all night. So,
what was it like in terms of the battle? What was going through your mind as you were battling Nigel Christensen on the final laps?
Oh, yeah, that's my teammate, and I was just amazed that he was ripping the bottom in 3 and 4 like he was. My car was, it wasn't bad down there, but he had it hooked up down there. So I knew having that topside run to the line would be best case scenario if he was able to get alongside of me. So I just figured I'd keep wrapping the top, and if he made it work, he made it work. But I think one more lap, he'd have probably had a pretty decent shot at it for sure.
All-Star race is up next on the schedule. Your thoughts on the All-Star race?
It's at Charlotte, so it's always a fun track. Charlotte's pretty multi-groove and all that. So hopefully we'll have a rocket ship again like we have the last multiple weeks, and I think we'll have a good shot at it.
Anyone want to give a shout out to here tonight?
Oh yeah, shout out to all my teammates. Shout out to Nigel for that close finish. He was getting after it there. Shout out to Blaine. Shout out to everybody, the rest of Dig Esports too, and shout out to y'all for doing the broadcast, Barry and the admins for putting the league on every week. Shout out to Thomas Mullins, the sponsor of the race, and all the viewers for tuning in. I know my mom's probably watching, mom and dad, so shout out to them.
Congratulations on the win tonight, Alex.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
Alex Coffey gets the win tonight in this one, and we'll take the opportunity to celebrate. Nigel Christensen comes away second. He's with Jeremy.
Nigel, so close here tonight, just barely missing out on your second win of the season. What more did you need coming to the line to get that one done?
I don't know, man. That was a lot of fun. I had to drive up through there and get the most out of it. I was really good on the bottom of 3 and 4, and I was surprised that he gave that to me. But I don't know what more I needed. Just send it a little bit harder, I guess. But it was a fun race to the end.
Yeah, we saw you involved in an incident late in the race. It looked like it was going to derail what was otherwise a strong day for you, take away any chances of a good finish. Obviously, a very impressive drive by you to get back up there to have even a chance to win, let alone come that close to doing so. How did you work your way back up through the field so efficiently with so few laps to do so?
Yeah, caution's playing, in my favor there. After that was part of it. The other part was there was a decent amount of cars that had a lot less, a lot older tires than I did. So I was able to kind of maneuver around those guys relatively quick. I'll be honest, though, once I got up to the top 3, I thought my chances were over, primarily because when I went back down pit road after I spun out, my tire percentages were at 97 and 96, and that was only after a lap of running. So I figured, I was at a disadvantage there, but the Precision Speed Solutions car, man, it's unbelievable, just on rails, and that's what got me up front.
Yeah, definitely seemed to be one of the fastest cars out there tonight with a great equipment under the hood. Who all gets it done there besides Precision Speed Solutions for your 20 car?
Yeah, man, everybody at Dig. I want to give a special shout out to Alex Murray. He's the owner of Precision Speed Solutions. He puts in so much work, and it's so fun to be a part of that and continue to get better. I've continued to get better week after week ever since we've joined this. We've formed this merger, and so I got to thank him, of course. I got to thank everybody at Dig. I'm not going to name them all. They know who they are. Obviously, got to thank COORIDOR, Simrat Market, off-axis, Carpies, Tillies, Pay RVA, everybody that's a part of it. And then obviously I want to say my dad always tells me don't give up, don't quit. You never know what's going to happen. And I didn't give up, man. I didn't give up, and we got really dang close to getting first in this one.
Well, congratulations on a solid P2, and we look forward to seeing you compete for some more wins. And I believe Ryan Huff is going to join Justin Prince here. And
I want to say one more thing if I can. Oh,
yep, go ahead. Sorry.
One last thing I wanted to say real quick was shout out to Alex Coffey. It's his birthday today. It's great to get a win on your birthday.
All right, perfect. And we'll have Ryan Huff up here to join Justin now.
Nigel Christensen coming away in second. Ryan Huff, you came out of nowhere, it feels like, here tonight. How would you describe your race?
It was pretty good for the most part. I saved a set of tires there for the last 30 laps as just in case, and seen some other cars did the same, kind of just stuck with the strategy all night, kind of played out, survived a couple of wrecks, especially that whole ordeal on lap 81. Don't know how I made it through that one. But then everything at the end happened. They're saying I changed lanes on the restart, that last restart. I don't know. It looked like Bikey didn't go, but it is what it is. But overall, it was a really good race, though, and very happy with it. First podium in the roughly 2.5 seasons I've been in this league, so I'll take it.
Overall, how difficult is it to be able to try and make your way through the pack at a track like Kansas like you had to do tonight?
Yeah, that's the thing. Kansas, you're very capable of going 3-4 wide. There's lots of room. Hard to pass at times. Track positions, everything. So kind of just hung out in the back most of the race and let everything happen as it did.
How do you feel about the All-Star race next week?
We'll see what happens. Charlotte's a fun track since I think that's where we're supposed to be at for our All-Star race. So it'll be interesting. Kind of curious to see what's going to happen, if anything, from this race. But overall, I think Charlotte will be a lot of fun.
Anybody want to think of the run tonight?
I want to thank my teammates over at Warrior Racing, Tim Wortman Jr., Nick King, Jameson Middlemiss, Chris Spear, Justin Bomo, even though he couldn't be here tonight. I want to thank Precision Speed Solutions for an absolutely awesome setup. That thing was great the entire night.
Congratulations on the run here tonight, Ryan.
All right, thank you.
Ryan Huff rounding out the top three. I'd like to thank the entire top three for speaking with us during post-race coverage here on Ballin TV. Next time out, we go shining like all-stars. OB Builders Cup Series from Charlotte for the All-Star race. May 21st the date. Be sure to tune in 8 p.m. Eastern Time. On that note here, Jeremy, your thoughts on tonight as we lead into the All-Star race?
Yeah, Kansas put on a really good show. Looking forward to some more mile-and-a-half action the next 2 weeks at Charlotte in the All-Star race, and of course running for points at Charlotte a week later, I believe. So going to be interesting to see who can put on some good speed next week, building towards the next race that will pay points, and who can carry the momentum forward from this week going into the All-Star break.
On that note, it's time to say goodbye. Thank you for tuning in for tonight's coverage here on Ballin TV. Our co-announcer in Jeremy Miller, for our producer in DJ Lyon, for everyone here at Ballin TV. I'm Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You've been watching the Thomas Mullins 300 from Kansas Speedway for the Moonshiners Racing League here for Kansas Speedway. Enjoy the rest of your evening.